Peace, everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is going to be the debate between me and here, Navid. Navid represents the side that states that Rashad Khalifa is in fact a messenger, while I will be representing the side that Rashad is not a messenger of God. And we are going to have a civil discussion. So now the difference between this type of debates and the debates that you might be used to, where it's Aina Mecca, Aina Mecca, Aina Mecca. This is not going to happen here. I do understand Navid, he can handle himself quite well. So we opted to not have a moderator. The format is going to be there's 10 minutes opening, starting with Navid because he is for the affirmative. And then we have 10 minutes of rebuttals and then 5-minute rebuttals. And then we have a 15-minute open discussion. And then we're also going to have a Q&A at the end after a 5-minute closing. So, and I will start with the closing, and then he will go for the closing. Just give me one moment. And yeah, so without further ado, how you doing, Navid? How's everything on
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much. Great to be here.
No, thank you for agreeing. This is quite a serious topic when it comes down to the Quran alone movement, right?
Absolutely.
Great. Absolutely. All right, then. So, Navid, if you want to have your own timer, that's fine. I'll start a timer on my end as well. And I can just give you like a 1 minute when the timer is close to being up. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, cool. So I'm going to put a 10-minute timer. I'm going to start it here. I do advise someone from Navid's side as well to start a timer just to make sure that everything's okay. And obviously everything's recorded. Are you going to share any presentations, anything, Navid? Is there something that you want to share, slides or something of that nature?
No, I don't have any slides.
Okay.
It's all verbal.
All right.
Sorry. I just want to confirm my camera's okay. They're saying the camera's blurry. It doesn't look blurry.
A little bit. It does look grainy.
Should I stop and start the camera?
Maybe if you go to settings and then if you go to camera, see the camera resolution. Is that 720? Or yeah, wherever you're at.
It's at 720 right now.
Huh. Maybe it's your upload speed. That could be the other thing.
Let me
restart, I'll wait.
Yeah, hold on 1 sec. Let me turn it off and turn it back on.
Peace, everybody in the chat.
Best tech support. How's that? Is that better now?
Not really. It's the same quality. It's grain. Well, it's not grainy. It's actually interlaced. That means your green screen is acting up a little bit. Is that from you're using the green screen from StreamYard itself?
Yes.
I see. What kind of camera are you using?
It's an Logitech.
The C290 or something like that. C270 maybe.
C920 is what it is.
920. That's a good camera. So I'm not sure. Do you have an iPhone? Do you want to use your iPhone if you want? It might take a little bit to set up.
But... It's gonna be too tricky to do all that. What if I reduce? Yeah, I don't know. I think. Do I just look blurry? Is that what it is?
No, you just look a little pixelated. You know what? Just open up the stream and watch yourself, and you be the judge. It's just a little pixelated.
Oh, I see. I see how it looks. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Let me change the resolution. I just changed the standard definition.
That works better. You look really good. You look handsome, man.
Oh, really? It looks better?
Yeah, well, if you want. Yes, you do look better. You look a lot clearer.
All right. I just switched it back to 720. Is that good now?
Yeah, it's looking better. But it was a little bit more. Now it went back to when you went back to 720, it worked for a little bit and then it degraded your quality.
What if I stay on 4?
Yeah, that means
can you reduce reduce the video so it's less pronounced? What is that?
It's got nothing to do. It's your connection to StreamYard. So when you're uploading to StreamYard, your connection is not fast enough, so it's degrading the quality so that you would stay at 720. So it's essentially buffering. But like,
all right. So is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
What's going on? All right. We just have to.
You okay with it?
As it is. That's fine.
All right. Everyone in the chat is like, bro, just let him start. They done. You look good, man. Don't worry about it. All right, you ready? Whenever you start
He said,
speaking, timer.
yeah, no problem. Let me just, because
Oh, sorry. I did want to clarify because people might not know about something. So yes, so the debate here today is whether Rashad Khalifa is a messenger from God. Okay, and yeah, sorry. Let me just go back to the right size where it is. And we're starting with Navid for 10 minutes. Timer starts when you start speaking, bro.
Okay, let's go. Peace and welcome, everybody. Thanks for having me on this program. It's great to be here. Let's just jump right into it. So God's system is sending messengers to help us. I seek refuge, God, from Satan the rejected. 735, messengers from among you, O children of Adam. When messengers come to you from among you and recite my revelations to you, those who take heed and lead a righteous life, will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. So the Quran informs us that there's more messengers to come. The Quran informs us that after all the prophets come down and deliver their scriptures, God will send a messenger to confirm all existing scriptures. Chapter 3, verse 81. God took a covenant from the prophets, saying, I will give you the scripture and wisdom. Afterwards, a messenger will come to confirm all existing scriptures. You shall believe in him and support him. He said, do you agree with this and pledge to fulfill this covenant? They said, we agree. He said, you have thus borne witness, and I bear witness along with you. That's 381. So this verse establishes an essential truth, the arrival of a confirming messenger that is part of God's divine system. I'm here to give the news to you, fittingly, that Rashad Khalifa was that messenger. Okay, so what is it? First of all, what's the first step to know that someone's a messenger? They have to preach the worship of God alone, right? Rashad Khalifa did that. The Quran gives us 3 criteria. That was number 1. Number 2, they have to never ask for a wage. Rashad Khalifa never asked for a wage. If you look at some other claimants, they're asking for money. Rashad Khalifa didn't ask for any money or any wage. And number 3, which is very significant, they have to proclaim a miracle. They have to demonstrate a miracle. And that was presented by the messenger of the covenant, Dr. Rashad Khalifa, in 1974, precisely 1,406 years time after the Quran's revelation. 19 times 74, that's also multiple 19. In the year 1974, Code 19 was revealed to the world. The prophecy of 381 was thus fulfilled. Chapter 74, verse 30. Chapter 74 is the hidden secret. Al-Mudathir. I seek refuge of God from Satan the rejected. Over it is 19. We appointed angels to be guardians hell, and we assigned their number 19. 1, to disturb the disbelievers. 2, to convince the Christians and Jews that this is a divine scripture. 3, to strengthen the faith of the faithful. 4, to remove all traces of doubt from the hearts of the Christian Jews as well as the believers. And 5, to expose those who harbor doubt in their hearts. Verse 32. I swear by the moon, and the night as it passes, the morning as it shines. This is one of the great miracles awarding to the human race. Rashad Khalifa, by God's leave, revealed the mathematical structure, affirming the messenger supported by incontrovertible signs. So let's just briefly get into just really basic math here. The Quran is structured based on the number 19. 114 chapters in the Quran, 19 times 6. Number of verses is 6346, which the digits add up to 19, and it's 19 times 334. Number of times the word Allah occurs in the Quran, God, 2,698. 19 times 142. Rahman is 57, 19 times 3. Rahim is 114, 19 times 6. The Basmalah is 19 letters, and it repeats in the Quran 114 times, 19 times 6, despite its absence in chapter 27, which occur. Despite its absence in chapter 9, which compensates 19 chapters later, twice in chapter 27, verse 0 and verse 30. But how do we set the foundation on this? The Quranic initials played the foundation on this ultimate miracle. 29 chapters are prefixed with the Quranic initials. And these initials occur within the chapters of multiples of 19. Yasin, Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sad, Qaf, Ain Sin Qaf Ha Mim. These are really basic examples. So the miracle was not only a sign from God, it was authenticity of the messenger of the covenant. Let's give just a comparative example. Joseph was given the interpretation of dreams. meaningless information was presented to him, and he was able, divine inspiration was able to utilize this information as a miracle, given divine access, as his proof of messengership. Similarly, Rashad Khalifa did a similar thing, right? So we have the Quranic initials, which remained unknown for 1,406 years. What does Alif Lam Mim mean? What does Ha Mim mean? What do these letters mean? God gave him divine access in the form of this knowledge. Similar to Joseph, he got access. He knows what these initials mean. That's his proof of messengership. That's the miracle. So what is Rashad's message? The ultimate message is the worship of God alone, right? It is strict monotheism. Strict monotheism we know as Tawheed. So we know, we already all here, almost everyone already acknowledges Hadith and Sunnah are from Satan. The Sunnis have greatly deviated. They worship and idolize the Prophet Muhammad against his will. It's a deviant satanic cult that has no basis in the religion, no basis with God, and no basis in the Quran. So that's Rashad's main function, is to purify the existing religion and invite people to the worship of God alone. We got all through that. So this is just a purification, and the Quran prophesied the messenger that would do so. Okay. But now we have to move forward and understand what's going on now. So Satan's first biggest thing, and he succeeded with that, was to dupe the Muslims to worship Muhammad. They did that. In fact, the Muslims call upon Muhammad more than the Christians call on Jesus. This is a deviant cult, right? It's a death cult to the point where in the Islam that we have today, if you leave Sunni Islam, it's a death penalty. The hadith says you are to be killed if you leave the religion. So that cannot stand. That cannot be tolerated, right? So that's a deviant sect. It's out. God's religion got corrupted. But now where are we at? Now we're in the realm of Quran alone. Did Satan give up? Did Satan say, okay, the gig's up. They figured out the hadith is wrong. It's from me. And now everything's good? No, because now under the guise of Quran alone, Satan has continued to do people, and he has a new methodology. It's more advanced than the previous approach. How does Satan convince people to worship other than God in the claiming of Quran alone? Well, this is it. It's a pattern of rejection. So my opponent is going to try to dismiss Rashad Khalifa as a messenger simply because he rejects with him on many interpretations. This is the exact pattern throughout history. Right? The children of Israel rejected Moses because he didn't like his challenges to their practice. The Pharisees rejected Jesus because he overturned their traditions. The Jews and Christians rejected Muhammad because he broke their dogma. Messengers are never rejected due to lack of evidence. They are rejected because they disturb the status quo, and they force the people to re-examine their comfort zones, right? So the litmus test for a new messenger is not, hey, does this person conform to my pre-existing understandings of the religion? And that's how I determine. No, the criteria for determining a messenger is in the Quran. Worship of God alone, never ask for a wage, come with a proof. Messenger of the covenant, Rashad Khalifa met all these. He does establish as a messenger. It doesn't matter what you think he's going to say that deviates from, what you understand the Quran to be. So this is the Quranist dilemma. Let's address this really quickly. The infinite permutations complex. The Quran teaches us that messengers are sent to guide the people out of the darkness into the light. I seek refuge God for say the rejected. 65:11 is that concept. 459 and 465. 459 is very clear. If you dispute in any matter, you shall refer to God or the messenger. If you do believe in God in the last day, this is better for you and provides you with the best solution. Rejecting God's messengers leads to confusion, right? And 49:7. And you know that God's messenger has come in your midst. Had he listened to you in many things, you would have made things difficult for yourselves, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we have now 30 plus years of a decentralized Quranist movement. What do we see? No consensus, no unity, no functioning community, no masjids. They can't agree whether the contact prayers are 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 0, right? We had a recent poll witnessed on Mr. Muhammad's Telegram group, right? They didn't know. 60% says 3 prayers today. We had 2 salaters. We had 4 salaters. We had 6 salaters. There's no clarity. There's chaos. And that's why God's messenger, God's system is so important, to bring the clarity, to bring the needed divine authority to legitimize, authenticate, and establish God's religion on earth. This is really the big issue. God does not leave his religion in confusion. He sends a messenger to settle disputes. That's what we as the submitters have. We have God's messenger of the covenant. He settles our disputes. We are the ummah of the Quran alone. We have congregations all over the world, and we are able to identify as the submitters and unify under the worship of God alone, upholding the Quran alone. This is what we're able to do as submitters. I leave you with this. 287, is it not a fact that every time a messenger went to you with anything you disliked, your ego caused you to be arrogant? Some of them you rejected, and some of them you killed. Ladies and gentlemen, today you're going to hear Mr. Muhammad list off all the things that he rejected from God's messenger, things that he just didn't like. Is that 10 minutes? I'm sorry, I don't want to go over.
Yes, you had your 10 minutes. I apologize.
Perfect.
I didn't interject for that minute. So thank you very much for your opening. I'm going to present my opening. I have a few slides as well. So if you just give me one moment while I add the slides. Share this tab. No, that's not this one. Sorry, just 1 second, please. Just gotta find it. I believe it's right here. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to start the timer right now. Peace, everybody. Well, Navid obviously had his go. He showed us how it's irrefutable that Rashad Khalifa is a messenger, and it doesn't matter what he says in regards to what the Quran is preaching, because he's talking about this infinite complex permutation, and therefore that we have to accept Rashad's miracle, and now Rashad is the one who's going to dictate to us what the perfect permutation is. And it's not up to you and your mind and your reason and your logic to have a play, and not even the word of God. So when Rashad is detaching himself from the Arabic, and he's detaching himself from what God said before, and he's coming up with his own interpolation in the translation, that's not for you to question. Just eat the bugs and accept the bug giver, because it's just like Sunnism. Obey God and obey the messenger, and who are you to have reason and logic? So the whole thing concept started with Rashad making a claim that the moon has split, and this is one of God's signs. But if we look at what he said, that the moon split in 1968, Apollo 11 went to the moon, and they grabbed a little bit of the moon dust and brought it back to Earth, and that means the moon inshaq. The word inshaq in Arabic means to split open. If I take some dirt from the ground, from Earth, and I have it in my hand, I can't say shaqqaytu al-ard. It doesn't mean that al-ardu inshaqqat. No, I just took some dirt up. The word inshaq is very, very specific in Arabic. And if we are going to go by the definition of dust being removed from the moon, well, then the moon has been split many times before Rashad Khalifa. You could see those craters on the moon. What causes those craters? Are asteroids. And those asteroids, when they hit the moon, they will release the dust off the moon, and the dirt, the same dirt that apparently Apollo 11 brought down. But we're not going to go down with the conspiracy, which AI has proven that those videos was doctrine, and it shows that Apollo 16 was technically the first one. So the date was wrong, and the whole concept of the moon being split was just because they brought some moon dirt back to the earth. But then he tells us about the miracle, about the computer speaking to him, where God is intervening with this computer in 1970s in regards to show this miracle that cannot be accessed before. But we have to talk about the upload process. I'm a computer programmer, so I had to look. So the way the man inputted into a time where there is no Arabic to be put it in the computer unless you program the computer to accept Arabic. So he went and took Arabic letters and he gave them a same weight in English. So for the letter Noon, he would put N. And then he wrote the Quran in like literally transliteration, but he gave every letter its own English equivalent. And then he shoved it into the computer to be a big calculator. Now, the problem is, if this is a miracle from God, that God intervened, so how come the first time that he was showing us where that God obviously manipulated the computer, where the word Allah was wrong because the count that he wrote down in the computer was wrong, but yet God produced a result? And the same thing with the letter Noon, that it showed 133, but there's 132. He never showed us the proof. He never showed us the computer program. He never showed us how the count was happening. All he did was count letters that he inputted in the computer. But then if you look into his book in the 1973, the counts that you see about Alif Lam Mim on the right, this is the counts Alif Lam Mim Sad, which was a 1973 book, which he wrote. The next time he wrote another brochure after 1973, the counts have changed. So oops, the miracle is not working the way it's supposed to be. And then in 1979, the counts have changed again. And then there are groups after Rashad was not justifiably murdered. There's another group that came out called submission.org, which Navid rejects. They found another way of showing that how it can actually multiply by 19. But then we have to scrutinize which letters they're counting and why they're counting. So in Arabic, we have the letter ha, right? But the word in Arabic, ha cannot end a word. So you can't have ha at the end of the word. The only time you see ha at the end of the word, if there's a pronoun attached to the word, rabbahu. But if there's a letter that looks like a ha at the end, it's actually a ta with 2 dots. But Rashad counted it as a ha. So he was counting as he pleases, and there was no science. There was no way of him actually producing what he was producing other than him fudging the numbers all the time. You could see after him saying that there's 2 verses that are going to be removed from the Quran, God didn't present that at the beginning to him. Because even in 1982, 12 years after the thing, he's counting the word Allah, right? Using a computer and still counting the verses that he removed. So why is the computer not telling him like, hey, there's an error here yet? Why is the computer counting wrong when he's supposed to upload the Quran as he said? So you could see that he even went as far as saying that he had to count it manually. So what was the need for the computer in the first place? But the problem is this charlatan, and I apologize for the word, he wanted to use these buzzwords that were happening at the time. So he was using things like computer and deep coded message and all this new age stuff just to give himself the credence. There is some credence to code 19 in the Quran, but it was a miracle that existed before Rashad Khalifa. Rashad Khalifa simply discovered it. It does not make that it is his messenger. Let's assume that Moses had a staff. Moses threw the staff the first time. It didn't turn into a snake, so he picked it up again. And he threw it again. It kind of shivered a bit, but it didn't turn into a snake. And then he picked it up again, and then he threw it. And then it became a snake. This is what Rashad presented with his code 19. But then the weird part is this miracle that's supposed to be for this messenger. After Moses died, someone came and picked up the staff, and they threw the staff. And oh, look, it became a snake again. So why are people able to discover this code after Rashad? And yet we know very well that the Quran was preserved before Rashad. But let's carry on. Now let's talk about the translation. The way that we know Rashad is not a messenger is not because of us rejecting our opinion. It's because he himself is rejecting the Quran. So we could go and look at this program that I programmed, where I use the chat GPT to mark every verse to see the accuracy comparative to the Arabic compared to what the translator said. You could see that I put Shu'aiba, Asad, Pikithal, Qasqas, Itani, Khattab, Rashad. In the program, after all the Quran, after it analyzed verse by verse, he scored the lowest. Rashad continuously scored the lowest. So you could see in 3878, where Shu'aiba got 100% compared to what the accuracy of the program is. And I can put the program on the Git for you guys to go analyze it and put your own translations to see how accurate you are. So the majority of them got 100, except Rashad got 50. Because 38, this is God speaking. Okay, it's not interpolation, this is God's word. Rashad said, to Iblis, you have incurred my condemnation until the day of judgment. But that's not what God said. God said, and indeed upon you is my curse till the day of judgment. There's a significant difference between condemnation and a curse. A curse is the punishment after someone has become guilty. Condemnation is guilt. So he is not actually translating the Quran. He's just giving you his opinion. And that's not how it works when it comes down to being a messenger. And you could see that he was always forcing his narrative in his translation. Most surely you, Rashad, are one of the messengers. I don't think that's what the Quran said. And therefore, that verse does not apply to anybody other than Rashad after Rashad. And then you can see that he's saying here to also push his narrative. We have given you 7 pairs in the great Quran. But that's not what the Arabic says. Because the Arabic is saying, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ. We have given you from the pairs 7. So there's more pairs. But Rashad here, he wanted to also force his own interpretation that does not align with the basic Arabic. And then you could see with the program that I did, Shu'aiba in his translation got 85% because he used the word certainly, which was not present in the verse. But Rashad got 70%. And you can see Talal Ittani also got 70% because he said the same thing that Rashad did. This is how science works. This is how computer science works. This is how computer programming works. You can test it and you can see. And now if we go on. No, the point of a messenger is to clarify the disputes that people had. So people would read the word of God and they would come up with these infinite permutations that this person is talking about. And the person with purity would understand the truth, but people still differed. A messenger did not come to cause more disputes. Imagine saying that, as God says in the book, and we have revealed the book to you except to clarify to them what they have disagreed. And this is exactly what Rashad said in his own book. But yet he's saying that if you die before the age of 40, you go to heaven no matter what. Never was said in the Abrahamic religion before him. So he added a dispute. He says it is forbidden for you to read the Quran in your prayer because you can't mention the name of people in your prayer. He says some plants, animals, celestial objects, the sun, deformed and retarded children are either fallen angel, intelligent creatures that are going back to God's grace, which is again, no messenger before him said. He's saying jinn believes that jinn chose to be jinn and not become plants and animals because they chose or believed that Satan could be a god. And therefore they worship Satan in a way. And that's a problem because that's not what God said. He's saying you have to pick the defeated side when God said that we're in the winning side. He's saying that you can't go to Hajj to wait to 10 years because it will result in faith and arrogance. And he's even telling you when the day of judgment will fall in 2028. And that's not even the worst part. The man is saying that God is clearly telling us, and ask about our messenger whom we sent before. We did not assign gods beside the gracious to be worshipped. He's saying the exact same words. Yet he's saying that God assigned a representative, a Khalifa on the earth of a temporary God is Satan. So God created a representative as a temporary God for people to worship if they choose to not worship God, that they have Satan as an alternative. He said those words himself. Yet when we look at the word Khalifa and all the dictionary, never use the word representative. And finally, in all the verses where the word Khalifa was used, it was always talking about humans, but as per Rashad, it's only that single point, and that's my time. So there's so much more to go, but okay. Sorry.
I know, we can both go on for a while. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
all right.
Me. So it's your turn. Do you want more slides or are we good?
I don't want slides. I'm good. I just want to talk. Thanks for being respectful and civil and respecting my time. All right, here we go. Ready, set, go. Boom. So as you sing, Mr. Muhammad is fulfilling exactly how the verse described him, right? Exactly, right? It says anytime a messenger comes with anything you don't like, you become arrogant, you reject. That's just how it goes. He's nitpicking translation issues. We can make arguments for all of the verses, all of the words, everything he's presenting. We can address all of it, right? Let's just quickly address a lot of it, some of his points. He made a lot of points, so I'm going to try to go through them as much as I can and get back on the program. So God's miracle came down in stages. It's true that Rashad didn't know the full extent of Code 19 when it first came down. That's a fact, right? 1973 is even before Code 19 came out. So yeah, obviously in 1973, he's just noticing mathematical anomalies there. The miracle Code 19 came out in 1974. So he just didn't know at that point. And that's fine. The miracle came down in stages. Regarding Ta Marbuta, that actually is counted as a ha. We can go through that. In fact, let me just preface by saying that almost all of the comments he made here were inaccurate, false, deceptive, misleading, or just completely false, right? So if you want to get into any of the topics that he raised, I'm more than happy to spend time with any individual, go into the nitty-gritty on any of the claims he made. You can come on Discord and you could just talk to me or others, and we can just go through the specific issues. But let's pick on this. Let's just focus on the moon splitting real quick, because it's a big deal. On this particular issue, the moon splitting, I think of what you got from Say the Rejected, 54:1. The hours come closer and the moon has split. The word for split there, shaft, does have substantiation in the lexicon that it means crack, right? Right. So does not mean a 50%. We get into this with Sunnis all the time. They say, well, look, we believe the Prophet Muhammad used his sword and he split the moon in half. That's not a thing. It doesn't have to. We can look at instances in the Quran where that word doesn't have to mean that. Doesn't mean have to mean a 50% crack in half, 50-50 split. We have, so let me just recap real quick. Sorry, let me just rewind. So 54:1 is referencing a prophecy. So we're talking about the prophecy is the cracking of moon rocks and taken off of the moon. And the moment that the Apollo 11 lifted off the moon, carrying 21.55 kilograms of rocks, is exactly 1:54 p.m. The verse that references this prophecy is 54:1. Now, what's interesting is the word moon is mentioned in the Quran 21 times total. Okay. 19 times, I believe this is the 19th occurrence, right? And there's 7 more times after this in a general sense. So 21:7. What's the significance of 21:7? Well, that's the date. The international date, 2107-1969 is the multiple of 19. From this verse until the end of the Quran is 1,389 verses. That's the lunar year that the moon landed. In 1969, he gave the wrong date, 1968. Now look at the next verse. It says, then they saw a miracle but turned away and said, old magic. So the miracle they saw, so we got 1969, then we got 1974. So that's the then. It's a sequence. So 1974, the ultimate miracle, code 19 comes out, and they rejected it, right? So that's the sequence there. Now let's keep going. He's saying there's translation error. He's saying the translation is the poorest. Looking at the numbers, it's very suspicious that of all the Rashad's translation at 50% 50% accuracy, it's like asking ChatGPT to do something is not programming. There's no programming here, right? That's really the issue. He's claiming, or he's asserting, that the AI bot, the whatever, knows classical Qurayshi Arabic, knows expressions, knows idioms. We have many examples where they all fail. In fact, I challenge to this point, the only complete, coherent translation and rendering of the Quran is by Rashad Khalifa, and we can go through numerous, multiple controversial verses. I don't have time to go through all of them now, but let's see here. 22:15, 34, 38:34, 38:44. There's so many verses that all the other translations, plus Mr. Muhammad's interpretation and translations, are just incoherent. Strangle yourself, kill yourself, suicide, beat your wife with a bag of sticks. You know, we threw a skeleton on the chair. The only one that got all these right was Rashad Khalifa. So we're just going to keep coming back to this point. He doesn't like the way Rashad Khalifa translated and interpreted the Quran, so he's going to claim otherwise. Let's go through some of his proofs. Bottom line is code 19 is undeniable. So this is the position of Mr. Muhammad. Well, it's true, but it's not really true. It has some function, but it doesn't really have a function. This is the preservation mechanism of the Quran. We've now identified over 28 versions of the Quran. The only way that you're going to have a Quran is with the ultimate miracle, the preservation mechanism of the Quran, which is with code 19. That's the only way. The messenger of the covenant is prophesied in the Quran. The root of Rashad is in the Quran 19 times. Now look at this one, number 2. This is a very important fact. We just found this recently. It's a big deal. In all the verses in the whole Quran that have the word Rasul in them, there are exactly 19 verses with all the letters of Rashad Khalifa's full name in them. And the first one, ladies and gentlemen, do you guys want to know what the first one? We confirmed this all by hand manually, by the way. The first one is 381 that prophesizes the messenger of the covenant to come. Isn't that interesting? 19 times, and the first one is in the verse that references the messenger of the covenant. There's only 2 references with 2 Rashad as just pure Rashad in the entire Quran. Chapter 40, verse 29, and 40, verse 38. Right in the middle of 40:34, where God rebukes those who claim that Joseph was the last messenger. So this is the concept. There's a lesson in the Quran. Don't claim he's the final messenger. And now you know the Muslims are claiming Muhammad's the final messenger. Now, what is the statement being made there? The statement is being made by a believing Egyptian. Rashad Khalifa was Egyptian. And only a messenger can make this statement. It's in verse 38, 19 times 2. The last word is Rashad in this verse. Let's read it. Let's see what you got for say the rejected. The one who believed said, "O my people, follow me, and I will guide you in the right way." Rashad is the last word there, right? So we have so much coding. We have so much evidence. Code 19 is true. If you doubt the existence of code 19, we can go over the simple facts. We don't even have to go into what he's saying is disputed or whatever. We have Qaf, Ain Sin Qaf, Yasin, Hamim, Kaf Ha Yain Sad, Sad. These are all undisputed, to the point that the top Sunni critic and idol worshiper Bilal Phillips had to acknowledge a whole bunch of these. The fact that Rashad didn't know right away, oh, these 2 verses are false, this noon shouldn't be here or should be there, this stuff is irrelevant. Code 19 is established. God says in chapter 85, 21 and 22, that he will preserve the Quran in the master tablet. Where is the master tablet? You access the master tablet with the ultimate miracle and preservation system of the Quran with code 19. That's it. That's how you access the master tablet. There is no other way. Ask Mr. Muhammad, where is the master tablet? 28 versions of the Quran. He's showing us Shoba, Hafs and Asim, what is it? Warsha Navid. There's all these different versions. And don't let them trick you. They say, oh, well, these are just different versions of the Quran. It's like Irish, Scottish, English, of Britain and United States, English, Australia. No, different words, different letters, missing words, different meanings. These constitute different versions of the Quran that without code 19, you're not going to know which is the correct one. How long did Rashad Khalifa live on earth? He was born November 19, 1935. He was martyred January 31st, 1990. The days of life is 19,798. That's multiple 19 times 1042. Chapter 19 has 798 repetitions of the initials. Kaf ha ya inside. 19 times 100, 19 times 42. The date of martyrdom of the Messenger of the Covenant is 31/01/1990. This is a multiple of 19. It is, but look at how it's a multiple of 19. 19 times 1230 times 1327. What's the significance of these numbers? 1230 is the geometrical value of Rashad Khalifa. In all the initial verses, all the verses of chapters that have initials, 1230 is exactly 19:1. The last verse of this chapter is 1998, which is 1327. Look how it's pinpointed. Let's go to the biggest of them all, 1919. The geometrical value of this verse is 1990. The number of letters is 31. Rashad Khalifa left Earth on the 31st day of 1990. He did not plan his death. This was all coded. They captured the killer 19 years later, right? It's all coded. This is a divinely authorized messenger of God. And the only argument that Mr. Muhammad has, I don't like some of his translation. I don't like some of his conclusion. And we can get to all of that, falsely claiming that trees used to be angels or whatever. Just all of this nonsense. He's just throwing, mud at the wall. Whatever sticks, sticks. It's all just, these are all false statements, misrepresentations, and it's not based in reality. We can go through each of those. God bless you. I think that's my time.
All right, thank you. So it's back to me now. So 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard my rebuttal of my buddy. Sorry, I gotta start the time. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the rebuttal of my buddy, and he always had to come back and start throwing numbers at you, and he will multiply it in different ways just to get back to his number 19, his favorite number 19. There is a number 19 in the Quran. That is something that has been shown. Not everything Rashad is showing in the number 19 was accurate, but people after him saw it. So the miracle existed before Rashad. It does not make you a messenger. But what makes you a messenger is something that is what God has said in the Quran and you fulfilling it. You just gave 3 things, but there are more things to talk about, which is called Sunnat Allah, right? So let's talk about him being a Quran alone. So everyone wants to keep telling me that the Quran alone messenger, Rashad Khalifa, he's the one who is going to preach us and tell us the truth of what the Quran states. Yet many of what they practice in their rituals came from Sunnis. It did not come from the Quran. So we can go into the concept of Hajj. So Rashad Khalifa, he says, even though he says that you should do Hajj 10 years after you're a Muslim just because that's in the Quran, he says that male pilgrims have to wear seamless sheets of material. I heard that one before. That you have to go around the Kaaba 7 times while glorifying. I heard that one before. That you also have to go 7 times between Safa and Marwa with the occasional trotting. I heard that one before. Where do you get the occasional trotting from the Quran, O Messenger of God? Well, he's the one who's deciding because he saw his forefathers doing that. The people who got deluded from the hadith, he started to put the hadith inside his rituals. Okay, what about the 21 pebbles that you have to pick up from Muzdalifah to stone Satan? Come on, where do you find that one in the Quran? Other than him going into hadith books and saying, I reject some of this and I don't reject that. He was simply a Shafi'i Egyptian who grew up in Egypt, understanding the Shafi'i religion, and came to purify it by keeping the same rituals that they added to the religion after. And Navid's only thing is obey the God and obey the messenger, which is Sunni talking points. What he wants to do is get you into the mathematics and show you all these patterns. And even though that he was born in Egypt in the day that he told you, but when he was murdered, it would technically be there's going to be a time difference. And you could always sit there and scrutinize, and you see sometimes they add the numbers, sometimes they subtract numbers, sometimes they will go put the numbers together, sometimes they will actually add 2 numbers. It's just anything to go back to the code 19. But let's go on about this Quran alone methodologies that you have. You have to say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. He teaches you to say it in Arabic, right? And obviously in his translation, that's not skewed, it's not his interpolation. He's saying that if you broke your ihram between Umrah and Hajj, you shall expiate by offering an animal sacrifice. But there's nowhere in the Quran that states that. It's not about him and his code 19. God showed him something that is have a significance, and he, with his egotistical mind, he made it about himself, and it was about how important Rashad is. And someone like Navid, all he wants to do is push you to Rashad. But let's carry on. Zakat. How much is zakat? Ask my opponent how much is zakat. He'll tell you it's 2.5%. Why? Because Sunnis said so, and Rashad repeated it. Let's go to the prayer. Rashad is telling you that salah, the word salah, comes from the word sila, right? But this Arab Egyptian didn't know that salah has the root word of salawah, while sila has wa salah. So he calls it contact prayer when sila is not the root word of salah, nor is sila connected to the word of salah, and he's failing in Arabic grammar now, basic Arabic grammar. But let's look at the prayer. Let's hear from Rashad himself what you can and what you can't do in your prayer.
And this is my responsibility to tell you that you must be very careful never to mention any name other than the name of Allah, the name of God, in the contact prayer. We see this in the Quran in Surah 72, ayah or verse number 18, where it says, the places of worship belong to God. Do not mention any other name besides the name of God.
Okay, so he gave you a verse that the places of worship of God, so do not mention any other names other than God. But yet, him, in his own interpretation, his own translation says the places of worship belong to God. Do not call on anyone else beside God. That's what the Arabic says. It doesn't say do not mention anyone else. Like I can't say like, yo, Navid in the mosque and I get in trouble. I can't say, God, please help my mother, or God, please guide Navid in my prayer. That does not invalidate my prayer. God is saying do not call upon other people, right? But he gave you like a translation of the verse, which what God didn't say. How is this a messenger?
This is a Quranic commandment. And in Surah 20, verse 15, we see the commandment, أقم الصلاة لذكري. Observe the contact prayers to commemorate me.
So he's saying also in another verse that you should observe the contact prayer to commemorate me. And that's why you can't mention anyone else. That's what God says. But God says to remember me. There's a difference between remembering and commemorate. And the thing is, the translations that you see on the screen is Rashad's own translation. So when he's postulating and he's teaching the religion, he's going off the cuff and he doesn't know what he's saying. And it's obvious. When you go to the Quran alone prayer, he's talking about 5 prayers. Yet you can't substantiate with the verses 5 prayers. You have to declare your intention before your prayer, just like the Sunnis. He comes and tells us the reason why we have a dam because people came to the Prophet and said the Christians use bells and the Jews use horns. No, that's 5 minutes.
Yeah, you finished 5 minutes just now.
Okay, but we're 10 minutes, right?
No, it's 5 minutes. We're in the 5 minutes.
I gave you a whole 10 minutes, bro. I gave you a whole 10 minutes. So you have to put your hands up and touch your ears with your thumb, and you say Allahu Akbar. And when you're done with your prayer, you say Salamu alaikum, Salamu alaikum. Who's he saying Salamu alaikum when there is? He gives you the same rak'ats as Sunnis, and if you pray more than what God has ordained, which is these 5 prayers that Rashad gave you, then it's a sin, right? And you could see when he's telling you about how the prayer is done, you have to touch your hands just like Shafi'i does. You have to put your hands, the left one on top of the right ones, or put them beside you is okay. What happens if I put left to right? No. Rashad is telling you how it's supposed to be. And yes, Salamu alaikum to your left and right when there's no one there. And now he's talking about the infinite permutation complex. Yes, people are coming up with their own interpretations, and the closest person to God will understand the Quran the best. But he hasn't proven to me why I have to accept this man's permutation when it completely detaches from the Quran and he's incorporating things from Sunnis. But bro, let's go basic math. You want to talk about math? Let's talk about math. Ash-Shafi'i died in 1820 AD, right? He coined the term Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, which are our enemies. He debated Quranists, enemies in regards to theologies. There are brothers when they want to be brothers. And then we have Bukhari, who died in 1870 AD, as per what history wrote. Rashad Khalifa came in 1970. As per Navid, this individual, he's saying for 1,100 years, anyone who rejected Quran, the Hadith and stuck to the Quran, there's absolutely no way for him to be guided because there's infinite permutations. There's so many, it's so complex that you can't understand the Quran without Rashad. Rashad is the one who's going to fix these permutations. And so for 1,100 years, God left the Quran with this other blasphemous books that people had to reject, which was the test. And there was absolutely no way for you to follow the Quran the way that Quran alone people follow. But that's fine. God himself is telling you the door of repentance is open for everybody. Us, who he wants to call us Quranists, if someone rejects the hadith and accepts the message of the Quran and follows the Quran, even if you're from Saudi Arabia, even if you're from UAE, from Kuwait, Doha, Qatar, Bahrain, you're more than welcome to God's repentance. But as per Rashad Khalifa, that the door for repentance for the people in the GSCC is completely closed. That there's no way for them, even if they heard about Rashad or not, they're done. Because Rashad's been promising them an asteroid that was, as he said, I have a strong feeling that in the 1990s, at the end of 1990s, that the enemies of Rashad Khalifa will be destroyed with a huge asteroid. But this is not how Sunnat Allah works. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. Sunnat Allah is God sends a messenger. He warns the elites, a certain group of people. Those people will disbelieve. And then God says, it is a right upon us. It is a duty upon us to rescue the messenger and those who believed and destroy the evildoers. Who did Rashad warn? He was sitting in America. He got murdered in America. He didn't go out and start to warn the Americans. He warned the Arabs all the way across the world. And then when he said that he was a messenger, within a year and a half, instead of Sunnat Allah being activated on this man and him being saved, right, he was brutally murdered. So God's Sunnah was not accomplished on this individual. Now we're going to get into the concepts of what he's saying is preservation. We know the Quran was preserved before the Rashad. Rashad didn't go with all the different 26 variations. He uploaded only Hafs. And tell him, which recitation do you use? He'll say, oh, I'll use Hafs reading. But we change noon to noon, wow, noon in that chapter, and we remove 2 verses, and everything else is perfect because just small little variations. But that doesn't solve the problem between Sha'ba and Hafs. Sha'ba and Hafs have the same consonantal text. So code 19 would work on Hafs and Sha'ba. So why Hafs when Hafs had diacritics wrong? And unfortunately for him, he doesn't understand. The consonantal text is what was preserved. People didn't have different recitations. He had different readings. But the readings is influenced by whoever wants. It's just like how Rashad reads the Quran, comes up with his own interpretation. But then the Quran is the thing that judges the people. Rashad did not use the Quran. Rashad used his own whims. And when I'm telling you, why doesn't someone, when God says if you were believers, wish for death? Okay, I'm 35 years old, let's assume. Let me go kill a bunch of 18 years old and kill myself and guarantee I'm heaven. Because Rashad said if you die before 30, you're guaranteed heaven instead of, picking and choosing after 40, you might go to hell. You're guaranteed heaven now. Isn't it worth it for you? He's going to say, oh, well, you can't play life and death. But that's not how it works. That's my 10 minutes now. All right, 5 minutes now, I believe, right?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you so much. All right, let's go quick.
No, I did give you
this part
minutes. The last time I did.
Yeah, my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, apologies.
No, it's okay.
So before we start, it's 5 minutes now. Hold on a second. It's 5 minutes me, 5 minutes you. We have our dialogue and then closing 5 minutes each. All right. Then Q&A. Okay, we're gonna start now, Governor. Let's go from the back forward real quick. Age of 40. Look, God gives the age of 40 as the age of responsibility. God controls life and death. God says the people in hell are going to be told that they were given a lifelong chance. So my opponent here, what's the lifelong chance? Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years? If someone dies at 25, is that a lifelong chance? He's not able to. The only minimum lifelong chance that we can show in the Quran is at 40 years. God controls life and death. The lifelong chance is the age of 40 minimum. Next point. Let's see. Oh, we talked about the established practices. So God tells us in the Quran to follow the millet of Ibrahim. What is that? If you're just going to claim it's monotheism, Noah was a monotheist for 900 years more than Abraham. So it's not just monotheism. It's established practices. The Quran says to follow Al-Hajj. You don't like the fact that Al-Hajj, the definition of Al-Hajj includes 21 pebbles? Tough luck. You don't like the fact that Al-Hajj includes going around the Kaaba 7 times? Tough luck. Too bad. This is what it is. These are the manasik of the religion. These are the practices of the religion that you reject. And on the day of judgment, God will tell you, you blundered with the blunders. You rejected my practices. The established practices are referenced in the Quran. There's 4 manasik of Abraham. Chapter 2, verse 126 through 129. Abraham says, give me the rights of my religion. God gave them to him. They're established practices. I know you and the other Quranists that have a free-form flowing version of manasik that's aren't really manasik at that point. It's just dua. You can just do whatever you want. And basically, you guys are just fighting about how many salat is there, how to do salat, what even is salat. Is the Kaaba in Mecca? Is it in Petra? We had a new guy saying it's in the center of the earth. Another one saying it's a North Pole. So there's no capacity to move forward under the Quranist agenda. So it's really Quranism versus submission, clear path. The established practices, the 4 manasik of Abraham are the following: contact prayer, clearly defined, the zakat, obligatory charity, the fasting during the month of Ramadan, and the pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in a lifetime. Rashad Khalifa did not bring any new laws. He took the established practices and purified them and filtered them through the Quran. Make sure that they're all devoted to God alone and free of idol worship. That's it. That's the bottom line. And that's what you're struggling to accept. You're complaining about the amount of time that people were under misguidance. What about the, 610 years or 570 years between Jesus and Muhammad? The question that you're asking is the same question that Pharaoh asked Moses. What about the previous generations? And I'm paraphrasing the response of Moses. He says, their record is with my Lord. He never forgets, nor does he err. God knows who deserves to die at what time, what knowledge they're responsible for, what knowledge they're exposed to. The fact of the matter is, right now, we have the ultimate miracle, Code 19. You're rejecting that. You're rejecting the messenger of the covenant. Anyone who dies upon this will end up in the eternal hellfire. Rejecting God's messenger is not an option. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 criteria for a new messenger is worship God alone, and that's Rashad Khalifa in the modern era. No one else preached an absolute worship to God alone. Never asked for a wage, which he didn't do, and a miracle from God. That's the ultimate miracle, Code 19. Everything else is a moot point. It's irrelevant. It has no other substantiation. Messengers have been martyred. Before the messenger of the covenant was martyred, he got a very high rank for that. The Quran, and he gave an example. Is it 5? Okay, let me just last thing is anytime Rashad says I have a feeling, or that's not prophecy. That's not revelation from Angel Gabriel. He can give his personal opinion. We don't have to take it. Anytime he says a feeling, it's not from God. That's 5 minutes.
All right. So, but the thing is, it's not about the feeling. He said that an asteroid's going to strike so that he would remove his people. Now, if Rashad was alive today, I think he would be around 80 years old. So all his opponents right now are already on their deathbed. So why didn't their punishment come? Why did they all come through? Now, he's making all these assertions that I said this and that and all this nonsense about people not being able to guide it because that's what Pharaoh said. But when you look at the verses, this man is not even close to what Pharaoh is actually addressing in the Quran, what God recorded. God says that I am your Lord. And Pharaoh goes, well, what about the people before me? Yeah, I'm your Lord still. But the thing that this man doesn't understand is that even between Jesus and Muhammad, people were capable of getting guided. The book of God was sufficient for them if they look through the lies. Us, as Quranists, as he keeps calling us, we look through the lies and we are getting guided. But when we're getting guided by the word of God. But when we look at what Rashad said and scrutinize it against the word of God, it does not make sense. But the man said things that no one in history ever said when it comes down to the Abrahamic religions. Yet the messengers are there to confirm what came before them. He's not confirming what came before them. Where, like, when he's saying, oh, well, no, the death is in... Yes, God decides who dies and lives under the conditions. If I strangle you, you die. God programmed that. I can't say, oh, well, if I, wave my hand, Navid will die. I don't have that control. So it is very simple. If I murdered somebody, I'm going to be responsible for death, for killing. That's why I would go to hell for killing a believer. But you're telling me if before 40, if I do that, I'm not going to stand for it because I'm 39 years old. Well, then let's go explore the verse that you're talking about. God is not saying that 40 is the age of responsibility. He's saying that when he reaches his maturity and he reaches 40, this has been used in the Quran many places, but you're just failing basic Arabic. It's a checkbox of 2 conditions being met, because some people reach 40 but they have mental issues, so that other box doesn't get checked. So he would not pray for his parents and ask to be a leader among the righteous. God is telling you the age there when the person is capable of being a leader, because Prophet Muhammad, according to their rules and whatever, he started his 40. But I'm not attaching myself to that ideology. I'm not going to sit here and preach it like Rashad did. When it comes down to treating women in the appendices, Rashad is quoting things off hadith. He constantly quotes and goes back to hadith with Navid saying, oh, he's just purifying the traditions. Well, during the time of Prophet Muhammad, the salah was existing, but they used to clap and they used to whistle and they do things around the Kaaba. As God says in the Quran, they were clapping and whistling. So Where did their innovations come from? From liars. There's a lot of things that was added to the prayers and all of this. And the funny thing is, he says Sami Allahu liman hamida when you have to go up. But that verse, that word needed purification, because it says God listens to whoever praises him. God listens to everything. No. God answers to those who praise him. No, God answered Satan when he wasn't praising him. That's proven in the Quran. That phrase came from Abu Huraira, where there's many narrations saying that the Prophet actually allegedly said Allahu Akbar when he came up from sujood. But it's just because he was a Shafi'i, he was giving you Shafi'i, which he purified. He picked and chose what he didn't like from Sunnism, and he started to give it to you. So he's falsely talking about so many concepts that if we actually look at the verse, Navid and Rashad is failing. This is the problem when it comes down to this group that they call themselves submitters. You submitted to God, you think you submitted to God. Fight. We're believers. We're a level above you. We do not need to put a middleman, which you're calling a messenger, which he did not prove his messengership. There was no sunnat Allah being fulfilled on him. There was nobody there that as we got escaped with him with the believers and the people got destroyed. And you're telling me that he came with the three things? Well, bro, I can give you two. And the third one is questionable. Not preservation. The things you said that it's worship God alone. We're preaching that. Don't ask for wage. A lot of us are now asking for wage. And demonstrate a miracle. He didn't demonstrate a miracle. Because if there was a code 19 in the Quran, it's attributed to Prophet Muhammad. He's the one who brought the book that has this miracle inside of it. Discovering it does not make you a messenger. And comparative, I'm not even talking about the man's character because that's not on me. But the things that he was preaching about the religion, it was so extremely flawed from what the Quran is preaching, where it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable in the eyes of God. So God allowed him to live, though, how long he was living doing his thing, because God is extremely merciful. But as soon as he publicly proclaimed messengership, he was removed. We did not see any of what God promises when a messenger comes. And even if we go to the verse that they love to quote, 381, it doesn't say the messenger or a singular messenger. In the Arabic, it shows if a messenger comes. So anytime a messenger comes, he has to fulfill what the Prophet said. And that's my 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you for staying within the time. And now we are.
So now we have our open dialogue. Please.
Open dialogue now.
Yeah. So can you tell me where in the Quran it tells me to go 7 times around the Kaaba?
Yes,
Al-Hajj.
Yes, the definition of Al-Hajj is this. Yes, Al-Hajj. So and I can teach you basic Arabic. When you have the definite article, it makes it a proper noun and it's referring to an existing practice. This is the practice from Abraham, and we have established precedent in the Quran 2126 to 2129. Abraham's the one that built the Kaaba. So this is an established practice from Abraham. And he had a specific, he says, please God, give me the rights of our religion. So he's a specific.
So why isn't, sorry, but all the other practices that are there, like leaving Arafat, going to Muzdalifah, going around the house, and optional if you want to go, those are all in the Quran. God is telling you that it's 3 days. If you want to shorten it to 2, if you want to go up more, only if you have taqwa. He's telling you what you can and cannot do in the Hajj. He's telling you how to sacrifice and when to sacrifice, but there's nothing about stoning the devil. So all the other practices.
Think about it like this. The Quran is
wait. Can you show me the verse where God is? Because all the practices, I can show you verses, but the stoning of the devil, I can't see it in the Quran because we're Quran alone.
No problem. Let me respond to this. Yeah. So how do you understand the Quran is a repair manual, right? The Quran's job is to purify existing practice. We accept the practice the way it is and filter it with the Quran. You are fabricating a whole religion based on your interpretation of Quran alone. That's the wrong approach. Millet of Ibrahim already existed. So you have to come up with what Millet of Ibrahim is and then use the Quran to filter it. What is the Millet?
Well, if we're going to look at the word, we're going to look at the word millah. Millah means inclination. It doesn't mean religion. Okay? Deenu inda Allah al-Islam, submission to God.
That's your false understanding.
This is the Quran. The Quran is very technical. Deen is religion and millah is inclination or creed. Now, even the way that Abraham approached the religion would not be the same as Moses and Jesus and Muhammad because they had different experiences. But the way of thinking was identical. Now you're telling me about the rituals and the practices, but I need to, as God says that He brought the Quran down.
What is the
one minute? Let me quote the Quran. Let me quote the Quran. God says that He brought down the book so that if we are differing in something, for the book to decide, God to decide.
What is the manasik of Abraham?
Manasik Ibrahim.
Yes.
وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكِنَا مَنَاسِنَكَ.
Yeah.
And God says that for every shir'ah is a different mensak. So the Jews have a
Right.
different mensak to the people who want
Yeah,
to follow
what
the
is
Gentile
our
prophet. Would you like to see
What
the
is
verse?
what is our mensak? This is the whole issue with
Mensak is
Quranism.
to a certain set of time, a dates where we say, commemorate and remember the name of God on animals
Okay.
and sacrifice them, and to eat
So
from them, to eat other. Yeah,
Is
that's the
doing
rights.
Hajj and Petra, is that part of the manasik of Abraham?
Why you talk to me like I'm a Sunni and you talk to me as if I'm saying that it's Petra? Mecca is clear where Mecca is.
The side you're representing, right? Rejection of submission means open-ended, free-flowing religion. That's the
No,
side you
no. That's not
you
true.
own all of it. You own all of it. Yes.
That's
but you
not
don't have any
true.
authority.
Then
So
you own all of these submission groups. So Alban Faza, is he also a messenger? He's a submitter who follows Rashad.
No,
Alban Faza.
no,
he has the clarifying messenger where Rashad prophesies to him.
because
You have
like
submission
you,
that have a different count.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Don't
Like
tell me about that.
like
Don't tell me about
let's
the
get
inner
into that.
battles.
Let's get into it's not about inner battles. These guys
It is inner battles.
No, because these guys rejected the authority of the messenger, so they're already out. Right?
But bro,
if Alban
he's not a
Faza is saying
messenger.
this,
Can you concede that these practices that you're talking about are not found in the Quran, and you're saying that it's part of the definition? Show me the stones, bro. 21 stones. Show it to me.
Well, first of all, you mistranslated 835. You used the Sunni translation. That's an expression that you don't have access to. The correct translation of 835 is their contact prayer. Their contact prayers at the shrine, the Kaaba, were no more than a mockery and means of repelling the people by crowding them out. Therefore, suffer the retribution of disbelief. If they perform the salat correctly, and we have an article on Quran Talk. Any of the listeners want to go, they can go on Quran Talk. They can look at this expression that he's translating as whistling and clapping, just like the Sunnis. They say, oh, these were topless women dancing around the Kaaba. They have to come up with these crazy interpretations, cartoonish depictions of the Quraysh.
Again, you talk to me like a Sunni. I'm not saying that.
Practices. But you're making the same argument. You're using their.
Well, I'm not making the same argument. I'm going by what the definition of the word is. What you did was give an interpolation. But it's not heedlessness, because God talks about it in a different verse. You are just coming up with these words, just like you know how the non-ritual, the other hypocrites that you say that are in our group, where they come up with these words that are not attached to the Arabic language. You do exactly the same thing. Like the word Khalifa never ever meant representative. Khalifa means successor. You're saying that Satan is a temporary God. Do you admit that Satan is a temporary God on earth?
Satan is a fake God. Rashad used scare quotes, and
he said temporary, a temporary God, with a small g. Does he have godly power?
He's a fake God. He's a fake God. Do you agree that Satan?
He didn't say fake God. He said temporary. He said temporary.
He did.
But this is the thing. These apologetics.
Let's educate you. In the English language, scare quotes are when you're saying something that doesn't actually it's not real.
I get that. He put a small g. I know what you mean. But is he a representative?
I'm not talking about
even
small g. I'm talking
about
scare quotes.
If you're talking about the word fake, then the square. Listen, the small g was already established that it's a deity other than God. But wait. I'm getting to you. If you look at the word temporary, that's where the scare quotes should be, because that meant fake, but he put temporary. What does temporary God mean then?
He did put scare quotes on the subtitle, and he said temporary God. And now let's just read it right here. Look, this is from Rashad's introduction. Satan was ignorant of the fact that God alone possesses the ability to be a God. That's it. The challenge to God's absolute authority was not only blasphemous, it was erroneous. Done. Satan is a fake God.
We're not in disagreement.
People worship Satan. Satan was given a chance in this world. He is a fake God. Rashad Khalifa acknowledges he's a fake God. That's it.
But God did not set him up as a fake God.
So you want to take the Sunni?
You see, exactly. You see, bro, the verse, one second. You made a claim. You claimed that God set him up as a fake God, as a temporary fake God on earth. God set him up. God put him as a representative. When the word Khalifa does not mean representative.
Yeah, that's fine. You can believe that. God gave him a chance.
That's what the Arabic says. It's a clear Arabic. It's not Rashad's Arabic. It's a clear Arabic book. So the word Khalifa means a successor.
You asked me how I know zakat is 2.5%.
2.5%.
70 verse 24. Yes, it's called Haqqun Ma'lum. Haqqun ma'lum
Haqqun
means the
ma'lum.
known established amount. Yes, the
That's
only
not what it
known
means.
amount. Yeah, what does
Nope.
ma'lum mean?
It doesn't.
What is ma'lum?
Haqqun ma'lum
ma'lum?
is a
What
right
is ma'lum?
upon you that is known. Haqqun ma'lum,
Yeah.
haqqun ma'lum is a right that everyone knows that I have to give money.
It says you give.
Tell me.
It says you give the haqqun ma'lum. The ma'lum is the known
Haqqun
amount.
ma'lum is a known right. It's not saying, it's not, you're the one who knows the word idda. Idda. Iddatahum tasatash, right? The idda is the name count. So if you're saying it's a known value, the word haqq is not a value.
Yes.
Haqq is a right.
No. Haqq is the amount you pay. It's a amount that's due to others.
Brother,
Yes,
it's not
haqq is what's
2.5%. I don't say haqq.
Yes, the ma'lum
means
is
a
only
right.
2.5%.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, it's very easy.
It's a known amount. This is the Quranist deviancy.
That's not what the Arabic says. Show me where haqqun ma'lum means known amount.
And other Quranists say zakat means reading the Quran at night. Right?
Okay, that's fine. They're wrong too. They're wrong, just like Rashad Khalifa. Yeah. He's those people that you're explaining. Rashad is with them. That's the problem. So we are in a Quran alone community where people come up with their interpretations, where the Quran is the one who's judging who's saying the truth or not. God said that it's a clear Arabic book. God said that it's a clear Arabic.
The fact that you believe God is so merciless to leave us in this infinite permutations without any clear direction or way to get
what happened for 1,100? We had clear direction. God clearly states the Quran is clear, and you're saying it's not clear.
500 years ago, there's hundreds of millions of people in China. How did the people in China read the Quran? Explain it to me. There was no Chinese translation.
Well, that was the mission of saying the word of God to them.
Quran? Explain it. Just answer the question. How did the people in China read the Quran 500 years ago?
People translated it to them. Same way you read the Quran. People translated it to you.
No, I have an English translation. There was no Chinese translation, I think, until at least over 100
Okay,
years
so but they did not receive the message of God, of one God, and be a good person and watch for the day of judgment.
That's the same thing that existed for the 1100 years. God says there's
perfect. Okay, but 1 second.
That's fine.
You just dug yourself.
You don't agree with common translations. The fact that there's a fitra in all human beings to worship God alone, that's in the Quran 30:30. There's no issue there. But you're going beyond that. You're saying they have to access the Quran. How are these people supposed to access the Quran? Two issues. Number one, the meaning of
you're making a straw man.
Qurayshi Arabic has changed. It's not the same as today. I can give you many examples. And two, there's not even translations in these verses. I'm sorry, there's not even coherent.
You're going again with these straw men. That's what I'm saying. That you're making a straw man, because what I'm saying is the people who did have access to the Quran, right, before Rashad Khalifa, who did reject the hadith, which there's many examples in history, they've also reached similar conclusions that we reached to, and some of the conclusions that wait a second, let me say it. Rashad did say some correct conclusions where the Quran supports him, but he made some very errors, like big errors in his understanding, where the Quran does not support him. And as God said, the Quran is the criterion for us to decide who's
big errors according to you. Who made you the authority on
according to the Arabic? Bro, according to the Arabic.
And I can get 10 more.
It's not interpretation, it's grammar.
Yes, it is. No, the grammar refutes you. This is what I mean. You have an incorrect.
What do you mean the grammar refutes me, bro?
The grammar refutes you. We can go through any example, but the bottom line is you said many false things.
Okay, then let's go for an example. Let's go for an example. How about we go to chapter 12? Do you want to go for an example?
Your Arabic is flawed. You are not the authority on Qurayshi Arabic.
So it's not a clear Arabic book.
In the people at that time, it was. Absolutely. Are you claiming that
Qurayshi Arabic? But for our time, the Arabic is inaccessible, and Rashad accessed it.
You can, if you look at it through the lens of.
But why is it the basic Arabics of pronouns, nouns, adjectives, and how they are placed in the Quran that he takes that out of content and he changes it just to fit his narrative? Why does that occur often?
It's your interpretations, right?
So it's not my interpretation, bro.
Doesn't even believe in any prayers during the day. You believe there's 3 prayers, not 5, and you believe they're all at night.
Right.
You just fabricated
so tell me,
this is
Rashad. Navid, tell me very quickly. Okay, when God is saying that, when he's saying the verse 11:114, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ رَفَيِ النَّهَارِ وَزُلُفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ, right? Which pray on the 2 ends of the day and a portion of
before sunrise, before sunset, in the early part of the night. What about it? That's
okay, but what are those times? Can you tell me those times?
I just told you before sunset, before sunrise.
Tell me the names.
In the early part of the night.
Tell me the names.
Fajr, Asr, and Maghrib. Fajr, Asr, and
Okay,
Maghrib.
but then Rashad himself is saying that 11:14 is the Fajr, the sunset, and the Isha. So you don't even know your own book. Would you like to see
I
the
do
video?
know my own book. I do. Yeah, and I can give you.
Rashad said that 11:14 is sunrise,
That's fine.
sunset, not before. Sunset and night.
And I can give you the updated brochure that he released a few months before his departure, where he removed that.
Okay.
Yes,
So his interpretation
yes.
from God changed.
God reveals information over time. It's called progressive revelation.
So where did he get the information from? So the video that I see where people are explaining the salat and him saying from his mouth, him explaining it, saying that 11:14 is Fajr, sunset, and night. Now you're saying it's not.
Because God's message comes down in stages. He took this rotten, impure religion and gradually purified it over time.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Prophet revealed the Quran,
who told you that he purified the whole religion in one day?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Quran has been revealed to you, but this is version 1. So next week I'll give you a version 2. And it's different.
Chapter 4251 says God, one of the ways that God communicates to us is by sending a messenger through whom he reveals what he wills. God corrected this religion through the messenger of the covenant. It came down in stages. Absolutely. Rashad was repeating the Sunni position that zakat is once a year. Then he got revelation that it should be given on the day of harvest. That's in line.
Or maybe he just read the Quran. And instead of getting revelation, he read the Quran and the Quran corrected the position. So it's not revelation. So me understanding that exact same point is revelation from God.
The message is purified in stages. The religion is purified in stages. Absolutely.
Navid,
revelation.
I read the Quran. I read the Quran and reached the same conclusion you just said. Now am I receiving revelation from God then?
Did you meet
Angel
Gabriel? Did you meet Angel
No,
Gabriel?
I'm saying I read the Quran. I read the Quran and I realized that zakat has to be given when you were giving
God is inspiring you on some things, and Satan is inspiring you on others.
Perfect. Okay, so is that applicable to Rashad? Did Satan touch Rashad's interpretations at all?
God gave the correct interpretations as what's left with us on this planet. You don't have that.
You said a point. Can you tell me, was Rashad influenced by the devil at all by mistake?
Absolutely. God tells us all messengers.
So how do we know what he gave us is from God or not? Wouldn't we use the book?
Because
use the book, right?
The final with the final clarification.
No, you don't use the word of God.
Yeah,
as decisiveness.
Your inability to understand the Arabic, your inadequate.
Actually, bro, I just proved to you that even him doesn't know the root word of salah is embarrassing for being an Egyptian. You put it as wasalah.
Yeah, and you're
it's salah,
and you're going with the Sunni interpretation.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes.
It's not Sunni interpretation. It's basic Arabic. Basic Arabic, he fails.
That's 15 minutes.
All right, perfect. All right. So 5 minutes closing, I start, right?
Go ahead.
Amazing. Alhamdulillah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm actually looking for the thing. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean that. But that's what he wrote. Oh, I didn't write that anyways. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, my opponent failed to show me these rights that he said that it's part of the definition. And no one had access to this definition until Rashad came by, because we've lost the definition. And these rights that we had from Sunnis, he purified them and he kept much of them, as what Shafi'i said. And the prayer is about reciting the Quran and reflecting on the Quran, and God is giving you the time of the prayer, and it should be from sunset to the twilight of the night, which is half an hour, 40 minutes of pondering on the Quran. But as per this so-called messenger, it's forbidden for you to actually read the Quran in your prayer. You just have to take 1 minute, 2 minutes, just do a quick thing, barely connect to God, and then say that this is your contact prayer. He fails in basic Arabic. He fails in the actual interpretation of the Quran, which is not from Sunnism. It's just the Quran dispels a lot of what he's saying. He added a lot of things to the religion that were not part of the religion. He did not fulfill Sunnat Allah and what happens when a messenger is sent. The children of Israel are the ones who killed their messengers. He was not sent to the children of Israel. He was sent to the whole world. And God tells you in chapter of the Poets, when they wanted to get rid of Noah, he saved Noah. When they wanted to kill Shu'aib, they rescued Shu'aib. When they wanted to kick Lot out of his country, he rescues Lot and then he destroys them. This is Sunnat Allah. This man came around and said that all these Arabs in the GCC are going to hell. There's no chance for repentance, and that there's an asteroid that's going to hit the Middle East. And he says that he's a messenger, and within a year and a half and he's gone. And you could see that a lot of things that he wrote is just his own interpretation. This guy, he has a chart of level 1 to 5 Quranists, because that's what they call us, because they don't know what unity is. And he's saying that if I don't accept Rashad Khalifa, he goes down the Sunni path. If you don't accept my hadith, you're going to hell. Well, your hadith is flawed. It's not substantiated by the Quran. You're the one who's redefining words that are not found in basic dictionaries. The basic Arabic grammar, which is a very solid framework for us to know who's saying the truth or not. That's not something that we can use. Just eat the bugs and accept. If I wanted that, in fact, Sunnis probably have more sense than you at this point. Because Sunnis are not saying that if you die before the age of 40, everyone is judged on an individual basis. Some people reach puberty faster than others. And everyone is judged based upon the abilities God gave them. God is showing you that the age of 40 is significant for you to be a leader, because that's what you're supposed to pray for at the age of 40, for the righteous. But he does not understand basic Arabic. That's the problem. And these submitters, what they call themselves, and they come and try to argue, they're making it seem that God left us with this amazing book that people can understand and get guided, but you can't. That's impossible for you to substantiate your position in the Quran. I wanted him to substantiate the position of Rashad Khalifa in the Quran, and he can't. He just says, oh, no, code 19, code 19, code 19, and accept everything Rashad tells you. But bro, that's not religion. This is, God tells me to use reason and logic. God tells me to judge with the book. But I'm not allowed to judge with the book when it comes down to the submitters, because simply, it's just accept our hadith. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much more. I can make a whole series for a whole week on how much incorrect things Rashad did. I can have a 3-hour show just about his translation and how skewed it is. And no, it's not consistently hitting 50 in what I showed you in the computer program. I showed you the ones where he is hitting 50, where comparatively people are different. If you go review, you'll see it's different versus numbers. But I can show you overall, when you take all the average, Rashad scored the lowest. But you say that this is not a word for word. It's his way. It's an authorized, like God authorized his translation for Rashad to change the word of God when God is saying something that is clear, decisive, extremely evident. Rashad wants to go translate it in a different way. Like the only person that competed with Rashad in this translation bot was Muhammad Assad, which he had an agenda as well. And then the next one on the list, which did better than him, is the Sunni one, Mustafa Khattab, that had a lot of interpolation as well. But he was closer to what the Arabic was saying. And then you have the people that are actually just focusing on the language. We have a minute. Pikathal, Assad, Pikathal, Talal Atani, Shuaiba, who has the great Quran.com, and Qasqas, Safi Qasqas, they were putting the highest marks because they stuck to the Arabic. And it's a very concise and a clear book when you read their translations. It's not like, hey, bro, Hajj, and then they put like quotation marks and give you like, hey, you have to throw 21 rocks. Then if I give you the Quran, I also need to give you Rashad Khalifa's tapes for you to understand that you have to throw 21 rocks. This is nonsense. This is just an insult to God's book, that I have to put someone between me and God's book. And God's book is clear and concise. You can't come and call me a disbeliever because I reject this heretic. I'm sorry. He did try to work for God, but he was deluded. Satan did mess with him. He literally said Satan is better than a human being, and that Satan is a temporary, a fake God on earth with fake godly power. Come on. The believers always win. Let's go ahead.
Time. All right. All right, let's go through this quickly. If you follow the majority, that's a Sunni, you follow dogma. If you follow one, like how Mr. Muhammad is doing here, you worship yourself. So the Sunnis worship Muhammad, and Mr. Muhammad worships himself. The submitter only worships God. That's a really important point. The messenger is sent as the referee. Mr. Muhammad is saying, I don't like the calls of this referee. Tough luck. That's it. You don't get to dictate the words of God. You don't get to dictate the correct understandings. You have a Quranic system that's broken. You have an endless debate on what salat is, what zakat is, what hajj is. Half the Quranists are flat earthers anyway, right? Your sermons, we examine your sermons. Your sermons are basically you just fighting with the Quranists and calling them names, calling them stupid, dumb, retarded, whatever. That's it. That's your whole platform. You have to own it. This is the Quranist movement. As submitters, we accept God's system. God sends a referee to give us the clear path to how to worship God alone. God gives us a clear direction with submission. We have a clear way to access God's truth. The fact that you believe that 8 billion people on earth have to go study Qurayshi Arabic to try to concoct their own religion, this is a merciless God. We believe in the most merciful God. God, out of his immense mercy and blessing, sends us a messenger to show us the right way to understand the Quran, to show us the right way to practice our religion. And if you reject God's system, you will go to hell. You will burn in hell forever. Just like the time of Noah. Noah built the ark. It guaranteed people that get on that ark for salvation. Similarly, we have the submission, the correct way to understand the Quran that's represented by the ark. In this instance, that's the messenger of the covenant. You can come on that, or you can build your own boat and drown with the rest of the people. I want to address this hadith of Rashad. No, sir. Hadith were lies falsely attributed to Prophet Muhammad. He never said those things. The chains are broken. They're unauthorized laws. They have no justification with the Quran. Here, Rashad is just explaining what the Quran says. He's telling us what the Quran says. These are statements actually attributed to God's messenger of the covenant. And 19 times, ladies and gentlemen, 19 times in the Quran, we have the commandment to hear and obey God and the messenger. 19 times. I've already showed you so many things. It's a very simple flow chart. Number 1, Code 19 is real. Number 2, God's messenger of the covenant brought Code 19, affirms his messengership. Number 3, we hear and we obey. This is a simple system. Mr. Muhammad wants to deviate the system, bring and advocate the concocting of religions, the infinite permutations complex, where they have no masjid. Ladies and gentlemen, Quranists are confused. Flat earthers, some of them don't even believe dinosaurs exist. They believe the moon landing is fake. They're out. So Satan has duped the masses already with the Sunnis, and now he's hijacking the Quran alone movement, which was started by Rashad Khalifa, and he's brought all these clowns coming in and claiming Quranism, the flat earth, the Petra, the Sam Garens, all these guys. It's one whole package deal. So you either have Quranism, or which you worship yourself and concoct your own religion, or you have submission, a clear path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the clear direction that God gives us in the Quran. We must verify before we accept information. 1736. We verified the messenger of the covenant, and that's it. Done. Once you verify the messenger, you say, we hear and we obey. And this command is in the Quran 19 times. Anyone wants to know about Code 19, come to me. We could talk about it. Okay, but this is the bottom line. You have a clear direction and you have confusion, ladies and gentlemen. He's using nice words. They sound great, but it's just inviting you to confusion. And we have a clear path with God's messenger of the covenant. Bottom line is, he doesn't like what a lot of what Rashad says, so he has to reject the messenger of the covenant. But that's not God's system. God's messenger don't come here and say, you know what, your permutations and understanding on everything in the religion and everything you comprehend is correct. Let's pat you on the back. No, they're going to, the biggest test, the most difficult test is accepting concepts and things that you would not otherwise accept. All right, 4626. We had established them in the same way we established you, and we provided them with a hearing, eyesight, eyes, and minds. But their hearing, eyes, and minds did not help them at all. This is because they decided to disregard God's revelations. The understanding and the correct way of understanding of the Quran is from God. Chapter 25, verse 43 and 44. The ego as a God, I seek refuge God from sin and reject it. Have you seen the one whose God is his own ego? Will you be his advocate? Do not think that most of them here will understand. They are like animals. No, they are far worse. And this is what you notice with the Quranists. It's based on personality. It's based on ego worship. But as submitters, I didn't even want to do this debate. I wanted someone else to do this debate. They said, just do it. I said, okay, I step up to the plate. We're not seeking any admiration. We're not seeking fame. We just want to preach the truth. We just want to promote the truth and invite people to the absolute worship of God alone. Is that
yeah, that was your 5 minutes, but if you want to keep going, this is pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the debate. It yeah, that was awesome, to be honest. You said some pretty cool things. I'm not going to touch it anymore because it's not legal at this point. I am going to post the link for the StreamYard, because we're going to have a question and answer. So people are welcome to come up. Guys, you're not here to debate. You're not here to insult. Do not insult Rashad. Do not insult Navid. If you want to insult me, go for it. You guys are funny, anyways. But you ask a question and you move on. Don't ask 3 questions to sit your position. Be like, hey, what's this and that? Move on, okay? If you guys are gonna start to debate, I'm gonna remove you. So here's the link, and be respectful, and that's all I'm asking you to. That was you said a lot of things, bro. It's gonna be fun later.
Fun
I
times.
promise you.
It's good. Fun times. I liked it. I had a good
bro.
time.
You said at the end you you killed your own self, bro. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Good.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, guys. Anyone is welcome to come up and to ask. It's right there in the chat, Nasa. And you know what? If I see the Quran's what's left to deny, I mean, if you want to ask a question in the chat, I'll put it up. But you got okay. Here we go. We have Ali. Ali, you state your question and you just that's it. Okay, we no too much. Go ahead, bro.
No problem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Question for both of you, actually. How can we conclusively prove that the 19 miracle is more superior based off Rashad's work compared to, let's say, the underlining 19 miracle of the Hafs text?
I'm not following your question.
So you see how you mentioned earlier in the debate that there is a notion of a 19 miracle within Hafs, but this was like before Rashad even existed, right? You say the Prophet Muhammad brought that, but Rashad like expounded upon this 19 miracle and added more things.
What's the question exactly? There's no one before Rashad that proclaimed code 19. So what is exactly your question?
No, so just because a miracle hasn't been discovered doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just like Muhammad from God was saying, it was there. It's just no one dug it up.
Dreams existed before Joseph, but it was Joseph's ability to interpret the dreams that made him the messenger. That was his miracle. Similarly, the Quranic initials existed for 1,400 years, but the messenger of the covenant was given divine authorization to tell us the meaning of Aleph Lam Mim and all these Quranic initials. So 4078 actually says this. Let's just give this verse, then you can respond. 4078, which by the way, 4078, the digits add up to 19. It says we have sent we have sent messengers before you. Some of them we mentioned to you, some we did not mention to you. No messenger can produce any miracle without God's authorization. So there you go.
Okay,
yeah.
My side of the thing, yes, no miracle can come except with the permission of God. The Quran itself is a miracle. God in the Quran, he tells the people that if this is not from God, produce something like it. So now there was an extra level that was discovered that they needed to put, which is there has to be mathematical code as well present in the miracle that Prophet Muhammad received. People discovered how embryology works, which aligns with the Quran. So the Prophet said it before the person. The Prophet didn't even know it at that point. But therefore, the man who discovered embryology, which aligns with the Quran, is now also a messenger because he came with a miracle. It's a proof. He was just proving the Quran to be true. So I think it's just a flawed statement because Code 19 works with many other recitations.
Yeah, those guys didn't claim to be a messenger, so that's not a good point.
But that's exactly it. So when you make the claim, now you have to substantiate it. And saying that, oh, because there's Code 19, now I produced this miracle. He didn't produce a miracle. He discovered it already made a miracle.
Let me just say also about this. So God says the Quran is preserved in the Master Tablet, 85, 21, and 22. How we access the Master Tablet is with Code 19.
Right? According to
Navid, Hafs and Awesome as the closest.
Hafs and Awesome is the Master Tablet.
Hafs and Awesome is the closest. No, Hafs and Awesome is no. Hafs and Awesome is not the Master Tablet, but it's the closest thing to the Master Tablet on Earth. We do with the ECC error correction code, additional purifications with the Code 19.
But ECC doesn't deal with the errors that Hafs made. So, for example, I told you in chapter 5, verse 6, Hafs says to wash your feet, while Shu'bah says to wipe your feet. And if you look at the text and you really scrutinize the text, it's supposed to be wipe. So he said wash because Hafs. So Code 19, 1 second, I'm not getting in the debate whether it's wash or thing. There is a problem with diacritics that Code 19 does not address the diacritics. So it does not show you anything that is actual being disputed because no one's disputing the consonantal text and Code 19 aligns with the consonantal text, if I'm not mistaken. And the one with the huwa for wash is not from the ones that you count anyways.
Yeah, so the Code 19 identifies the Hafsan Awesome, and then you build from there. So that's
Okay,
really
perfect. So we just go with Hafsan Awesome because that's what he uploaded in the computer.
May I have your generosity for one more question, please?
Ali, I want to be fair because I have 10 people in the list already.
It's very quick. It's very quick. It's a closed question. Do you guys see each other as Muslims, or do you both excommunicate each other?
You can start, Navid.
Anyone who rejects the messenger of God is no longer a believer. That's my understanding. And this is nothing personal.
My rebuttal is God told me to worship him alone and to believe in his word and to follow the Gentile prophet. That's what the Quran ordered me to do. I'm doing that. I do not need to have to accept every messenger in the world that came because I don't know them all. And the other thing is this man proving that he's not a messenger. For me, Sunnis, I would take them as a Muslim, but not a believer. Shias, all of these. I would take the doctrine as showing shirk, and I would show the Rashadians that they are performing shirk in certain aspects, but I judge the person individually. I will try to work with anyone that believes in one God and preaches this message of peace. I will work with anyone. And Navid can actually attest to this. I defended them for a few years before he called me the enemy of God. So.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Take care. Salam. Salam, actually, Ali. Salam. All right. Neo, wake up. No.
Peace. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any question, I guess, but just
there's people on the line, bro. I don't need commentary. I need
just go
there's
down.
people on the line.
If he doesn't have questions, he can go down.
Yeah,
it's just a question. Okay. G dry. G die. G.
Oh,
what's up?
Hello.
What's your question? Peace be upon you. What's your question?
Peace.
So, in the beginning, you mentioned Rashad, the criteria he used to do his counts and all that was dishonest. Was that what you mentioned in the beginning? Was that your claim, Muhammad?
I'm not saying that it was dishonest. I was saying that there was no God intervention because it had many errors that he had to repeat many times. The prophet, if the prophet's miracle is the Quran, he came with a clear Quran, which was concise, which he didn't have to recount it or rewrite it 3 times or reproduce it 3 times. With Rashad, even on after he was taken away, there were still people counting after him. So it's not something from God. It was a discovery that he had to learn and adapt to. It's not how miracles work.
Navid mentioned stages. So even after he was dead, people were still refining Code 19.
Some people were, yes. So Navid rejects. Navid rejects.
I heard stages.
Yeah. Do you want me to speak on this?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So I believe the finalized counts are with us when Rashad left. That's it. That's done. So
yeah.
Look. We have the purification. So what we've really done, and you contact me, I can give you resources on this. We've really found additional evidence to substantiate all of Rashad's claim regarding the counts, including the controversial ones, right? Like Noon, the fake verses, Malam, all of these. We just have a substantiation for all of these. So people that are saying that our job is to actually correct Rashad, that's deviance. The submission.org doesn't even accept Rashad's teachings. They don't accept them as authority. So if you don't accept the messenger as authority, you're out. It doesn't matter what you believe. That's really the bottom line here. But regarding Code 19, we can defend all of it. It's the purification.
Unfortunately, he's just making assertions. That's the problem. Because if Rashad was alive for the next 5 years, maybe the counts changed. You don't know.
Who's credible?
No. He was murdered.
Who am I supposed to believe right now?
We can go over any of them. Any of the controversial aspects of Code 19. Come to the server. Come talk to me.
You
I
mentioned
can show
that
you all of them.
You mentioned that he was using Sunni translations.
No.
Arabic.
No, he was using. Right? What I mentioned is he was taking the Arabic and he was giving a letter for every Arabic letter because the computers in the 1970s. You either had to program your own Unicode, which would accept Arabic letters, or what he did was he weighted every letter to English, and he shoved an English, so he was deciding which letters are the same and which letters aren't. So it was more. It's not a science; it's a trial and error at that point.
So is there already criteria for that?
No, there isn't. That's the problem. He decides his own rules.
There's more than 10 people in line.
You're right.
We can talk about Code 19 details if you like. Right.
Right. You have his contact as well. Yes, I apologize. There are a lot of
Mohammed,
people, and people
Mohammed,
still trying to.
I like
Yes.
to talk to you, or maybe you can, I don't know, make a
All
video
right.
Talk
about
to
this.
him later. Yeah, sure. Talk
I
to
will.
him
I
later.
will. I did put my Telegram in the chat, right? If you want to talk to me on Telegram,
What's
and
that
you're more
problem?
than welcome, Naveed. You're more than welcome to put your Discord.
Right
Don't
here.
worry,
Come
bro.
on,
I
right here.
promise you.
Other people put it
Yeah,
in the
there
chat.
you go.
That
There you go,
Mohammed,
guys.
Mohammed, maybe if
talk
you have
to
Yes,
a
guys.
WhatsApp or something, maybe that would work better.
I don't have WhatsApp, bro.
Just he asked this question. That's enough. That's enough.
Yes.
Okay, adios. My
Peace.
time.
All right. Next on the list is Submitters Collective. Next person. Go ahead, bro. That's a question for me.
Yes, peace, Mohammed.
Yeah.
So
Peace.
I have some questions.
One question, not some.
Only one?
Well, please, we got to keep it short.
Okay, have you considered why the Quran opens 29 surahs with seemingly random letters, like Alif Lam Mim and
I'm not saying that the
Kaf?
19. I'm not saying that the 19 does not fit, but you could. There are also other ways to show that number 4 can fit. 19 is very, very conclusive. I mean, 19 does have its precedence. It does not make the person like who discovered it automatically a messenger. That's my point. I did like Shabir Ali. I believe Shabir Ali. He shows you a lot of patterns with the number 19. He himself is not a messenger, but he said some things about code 19.
Is he claiming he's getting revelation from Gabriel?
But I can show you a lot of people claiming that they're receiving revelation. But when you scrutinize what they're saying, it goes against the word of God.
No, I understand. Is this person coming to you, telling you, "Hey, brother, I am getting revelation from Gabriel. This is the proof."
Yes.
And is this person here?
And
alive?
Here?
Is this person alive?
Yeah.
Right?
There's many people, especially like even from your side. There's the guy from Alban Feza. He said he gets revelation from God, and that he's also carrying on the work of Rashad Khalifa. So, and he's coming with more patterns of code 19. So people say it all the time, but how do I know he's a liar as well? I'm not like, sorry. How do I know he's a liar? I try not to insult you guys. I really try. How do I know that he's not a liar? That he is a liar? Because the stuff he says does not attach what the Quran says, so he's rejected.
Do you think Rashad Khalifa put himself in a position as the first person to recognize this pattern? Okay, and claiming that I'm receiving
he discovered
messages
it.
from God.
I'll concede that
my
he discovered it.
Okay, my question is this: would God let someone other than His messenger discover such this like foundational layer of the Quran structure?
Yes, because you have a person that worked in chapter 18 who was teaching the prophet. So he had a blessing and he had a miracle from God of revelation and talking to God. Yet he was not a messenger, yet he was not a prophet. And that's the role of what I understood from Rashad. He asked God to tell me, what does these letters really mean? God told him, because God answers the calls. But then he took it upon himself because he got a big message, like a big favor from God, that he made himself a messenger. And when he publicly proclaimed it, he was removed. There is some truth to code 19. I never denied that. I'm denying his messengership because of his exegesis. I don't think his role was to make an exegesis, nor to talk about what the Quran states, or to purify the things. He's just guiding people to the Quran and showing how bulletproof the Quran is. But to come out now and to say that I have to listen to everything he says, that's as bad as people saying like, hey, who brought you the Quran? Those Sahaba, so take their hadith. No, I don't want to. Because he proved that he's not a messenger.
Isn't that like rejecting Moses while claiming to believe in the commandments he brought?
No, because he didn't bring commandments. Rashad did not bring commandments. Rashad brought you code. Rashad brought you 19.
For example, the disputes that we are trying to settle down the disputes, right? Like we are claiming, brother, this is the Hajj. This is the contact prayer. We have the video of the ablution. We have the video of the contact prayers.
Then you don't read the Quran. The Quran clearly tells you multiple times, many times, that the Quran is to clarify our differences. The book is to clarify our differences. It's not the role of the messenger to create differences. He's supposed to clarify differences. Now you're telling me that Hajj is stoning. He has to prove it because he's supposed to confirm what the Prophet brought. He's not confirming what the Prophet brought. He's confirming what he found his forefathers doing. That's the big error. Bro, he's telling you when the day of judgment is. He's telling you what year the day of judgment is. God tells you in the Quran that the day of judgment is unexpected. It comes unexpected. But I don't have
God
to.
is revealing the information with the messenger. Why you are claiming that
no,
he is
the angel doesn't know. God is the only one that knows when the day of judgment is going to occur, and it's going to come to you unexpectedly. Now, you as submitters, it's not going to come to you unexpectedly, because it has to happen in 2020.
Yeah, 2280. But we don't know. But we don't know the day that it's happening. We just know the.
But you're not expecting it now, are you?
That's fine.
It's impossible for it to come now.
The moment it happens, we're not going to know. But I don't know.
Rashad, is it impossible? Sorry, Navid, is it impossible for it to come now, today, tomorrow? Is it impossible?
God says in 2015, He will keep the end of the world almost hidden. So do you acknowledge that it's almost hidden, or do you believe it's fully hidden?
Yeah, that's your interpretation.
So you're going with Sunni. So you're going with Sunni. So you're going with Sunni understandings also. God says,
what's the Sunni understanding? You don't know my understanding. I never explained to you my position on that verse.
God says there's 3 signs for knowing the end of the world: birth of Jesus, sleepers of the cave, and the Quranic initials. All 3 point to 22.
So now we know that which year it is as well. When God says that He does not reveal it to anybody. Man, come on. You can ask anybody in any religious studies. Even Jesus himself will tell you, I don't know when the hour is.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, all right, just
you don't. But you know the year. It's exactly. But you know the year. Just like how Sunnis say that it'll come on Friday. So don't expect it on Saturday.
72, 26, and 27. He reveals the future from anyone He chooses.
Sure. I'll let the people decide. Submitter, thank you and peace to you. I appreciate you saying peace.
All right, peace.
Next person. Bro, if the next person is who I think it is, don't talk too much. One question.
Peace be upon you guys. What's going on? How you doing?
Hi.
Great debate. Thanks for having us, Mr. Muhammad from God.
Appreciate
it. Good to see you. Good to be on here. My question is to you, Mr. Muhammad.
Of course.
It's not just a question, but also like a recommendation. We often ask, like, where can we learn about your understanding of the religion?
Yeah, I have a book. Just give me 1 second. I have a book. 1 second.
But just let me finish my point. Most Quranists, they just come and give you the Quran, right? But then this does not explain why they all dispute over what the Quran is saying, right? So it's not very helpful when everyone is disputing over what the book is saying, and when you ask them, "Hey, where can I learn your understanding of the book?" You just like, "Oh, here's the book." Right? Because everyone's formulating their own understanding, right?
Yeah, so you said, where do you learn? So how do I reach the conclusions that are reaching?
How do you know what the Quran is saying, right? How do you know what the Quran is saying?
Yeah, I read it. Okay,
so again, when you ask, do you have the same understanding as everyone else? No, you don't.
No,
I was going to ask.
How do we discuss it?
I mean, that we can always discuss, right? But you can also summarize what you know in one place, which would be great. You know, and this is sort of what we ask, so, especially from like the popular.
You want to know where you?
Well,
you from the
brother, you're gonna always point to the Quran, right?
No. I'll tell you. I have a YouTube channel where I say my interpretations for people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not written down anywhere.
What?
It's not written down anywhere, because I would actually appreciate that. I mean,
for me to I don't need to write it down.
Just
because the Quran itself is clear enough for it to be understood without me writing it down.
I do believe I do agree with you. The Quran is clear. It does, but it also says that the Quran misleads the transgressors. Right, chapter 17, verse 82. Right. So
I know that
it means that people can give the wrong interpretation of the Quran, despite its clarity.
That's right.
Right.
Can Rashad give the wrong interpretation?
A messenger of God is required to give the truth. Chapter 7, verse 105.
Thank you, but I'm asking a simple question: yes or no? Can he make a mistake? Yes or no?
He's not allowed to give a wrong interpretation. If he
and
does,
he did give a wrong interpretation. That means he's not a messenger.
If he does, God corrects him the same way God corrects all the other messengers.
Okay, but if he did give an interpretation and he died on that interpretation, and that interpretation is correct,
he never died on a wrong. He did not die on a wrong interpretation.
That's your assumption. But if he did, I'm asking you a hypothetical.
Then God would have lied in the Quran. Then God would have lied in the Quran.
Oh, so God is the liar, but Rashad isn't.
God says that the messengers are required to give the truth.
Thank you. Have a nice day, bro. If I'm telling you that that's your question. I'm not here to debate.
You acknowledge that the messengers cannot mislead the people, right? Or no?
But if they're messengers.
Okay, but so if you don't like what he has to say, Right?
No,
What is
he's
that?
wrong. It's not
So
what I
you
don't like.
ask-
It's not about what I like and I don't like.
Mr.
It's not
Muhammad,
about what I like and I don't
so
like. If
you
he was
acknowledge-
wrong.
So you acknowledge that like God was the.
Amr, what's your question?
My question was, where can I find your understanding? I think you answered
On my
it
channel.
before. Yeah, on your
Anything
channel.
else?
No,
Yes.
thank you for having
That's
us.
my personal understanding. But where do I get my information? Right here. That's it. I don't need hadith books, and I don't need to tell you to
so
go
do we, Mr.
stone
Muhammad.
21, throw 21 stones. Bro, I got to move on. The
go
problem with you, Amr, you talk for a long time, and we have
Mr.
many
Muhammad,
conversations about
It's
this.
okay, Mr. Muhammad. It's fine. Take care. Peace.
Appreciate it. Take care. Abdul. Man. Abdul, are you here, bro? Guys, whoever had the question answered, please leave the stage. It's just so others are trying to come in.
Hello.
Thank you. Please, can you hear me? Can I hear you, actually? I don't know if I can hear you. Let me see. Ah, bro. Hello? Abdul. Abdul. Are you there?
Yo, what does the last word of chapter 100, verse 4 mean?
Say it again. What's that? Which? And who are you
Chapter
asking?
100.
He said, what is the last word of 100 verse 4?
100.
I guess he's asking.
Who's
for
you
the last
asking?
word. I don't know. He's just asking both of them. He might be trolling. I don't know. God forgive me.
Naqan. Thanks, bro. Not sure what he wants. CRG.
Morning. Is that morning?
Salam
sorry,
alaikum.
not
Salam
that.
alaikum. How you doing?
Peace
I'll be
and
watching
welcome.
your stuff, man. I got a question for you though, man. Because I know
Who, me?
Yeah, MFG. I got a question for you. Because I know you
What's
talk
up?
about prayer a lot and you say that the Quran talks about prayer. From my understanding of the Quran, it does not talk about prayer. And some proof I have for that is chapter 2, 177. So when you look at chapter 2, 177, that's clearly talking about prayer and turning your face towards the east or west is not righteousness. And then it tells us what righteousness is. And the way Salah is translated to prayer, that contradicts that verse. You feel what I'm saying? I don't believe Salat means prayer. But you get what I'm saying?
That's great for you. That's your interpretation. It's just like how Rashad can have his interpretation. You're free to your own. But there are verses in the Quran which shows you that you're wrong.
No, how do you interpret it?
But again, this debate here is about Rashad Khalifa.
What makes your understanding? What makes your understanding more valid than Mr. CRG? He's a high-level Quranist.
The Quran, the validation is the Quran.
He's
when
using
Rashad,
the Quran too. He's using the Quran.
No, he isn't. He isn't using the Quran because when what does the word iqamat as-salah mean? Not salah by itself. Iqamat
Chapter
as-salah.
2, 177. All I'm asking is, it says righteousness is not in turning your faces towards the east.
Where does it talk about salah there,
bro? Do you not understand the wisdom? I'm not here to debate though. I just asked.
You are here to debate. I'm asking you. I understand the wisdom. You're saying like it doesn't tell you like righteousness is not about facing Mecca. Righteousness is about believing, but it's talking about righteousness. It's not talking about salah. So you failed again with the Arabic.
So you don't need salah at all.
You do need salah. God says to establish the salah.
It's not talking about prayer. You do need salah. You don't need prayer.
You do need salah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, but if you're going to come here and talk to me about ritual prayers, there are different verses that are talking about ritual prayer. When you see the word salah by itself, okay, it's signifying at that point the communication. So that is divine communication. It's very specific. You're talking about the spiritual side of salah.
So what we're
some verses
right
are talking about the spiritual side.
What we're doing right now is salah.
No, it's not salah.
So what is salah? It's just prayer.
Salah is communication, divine communication. So either God is talking to you, you're talking to God, or you're talking to God on behalf of somebody.
So you can only.
So how do you define salat? He just has his own version.
Communication, dua.
So you can only. That's
literally what it means.
So you're saying all dua.
You believe salah.
Yes, all communication. All communication is salah. That's the word salah from.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
communication. Now, when God and His angels.
Go ahead.
Bro, you're arguing when God and His angels. Okay, then why? What's your question? There's no salah in the Quran. That's your question.
You answered. I'm a hop off stage. But
I appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you, bro.
This is infinite permutations of Quranism. Mr. CRG.
Right. So that's why you start your salah like this, right?
No, I don't.
No, I
don't
didn't.
start my salah like that.
He doesn't.
No, I don't.
Not that. I'm talking about Navid, who's taking
Okay,
shots
okay,
because
okay.
because you have your interpretation, which you're free to have. But according to Navid, you're going to hell. According to me, is you're going to live your life by what you're understanding from God's book. Some people have better understandings than other because that's what God has allowed. If you're living your best life and you're finding efficiency in your life by not performing a ritual salah, then that's you, and that's how you understand it. But I see that as a flaw.
Who's the
You don't
judge?
see it as a flaw. Then you keep living your life,
So-
but you're
so
still
the
my
judge
brother.
is
I'm not going to
your
I
say you go to
actually
hell.
interpretation of the
agree with you
Quran?
on that, though. I actually agree with you on that.
Because it's just
MFG.
good sounding words, rhetoric. It means nothing.
It's the
No,
truth.
no, 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 no. I agree with him on that. But
It's the
I
truth.
asked my question. MFG, hopefully, salam alaikum, both of y'all, man. Hopefully,
Salam
we'll talk
alaikum,
again
bro.
soon,
You
man,
don't
'cause I
want to
watch
do a
your
ritual
stuff.
prayer. That's fine, but
No,
I'm
I do
telling you
watch your
why
stuff.
I
My
do
only
one.
thing with you is the prayer thing, but that's small, bro. Keep doing what you're doing,
But
bro.
bingo, so the whole concept of him talking about flat Earth and all this earlier is the exact same thing. You want to believe there's a flat Earth? That's
Why
you.
is
But I
your
see it
why is
differently.
your inspiration better than CRG? You're not telling us.
Because of what I see in my life, my measurement on the day of
Who cares?
judgment. I'm not here
And
to
he's-
judge. Well, I'll tell
and
you,
he's
day of
basing it on
judgment.
what
I'm
he
not
sees in
measuring
his life.
CRJ. I'm not Rashad. I am seeing that when I perform the ritual prayer, I feel closer to God because as Rashad says, I commemorate Him more.
And
But without
Hindus
that, I
kiss,
feel like I'm
and
lacking.
Hindus kiss cow butts and they feel good about the religion. This is subjective wishful
Where does
thinking, and it will
Thank
not
you,
save
bro.
you on
Thank
the day
you.
of judgment. It will not
I substantiate my
save
claims.
you. What I
All I
see in
know,
my
look,
life.
Where-
This is
all I know,
transgenderism of religion. This is transgenderism.
CRG.
He says
Tell the
what I
guys,
feel
dude.
good doing. So you identify
No.
as a cat in your religion. That's
What?
essentially what this is.
It's not
listen,
feel
bro.
good.
All
I
know
remember
is
God more.
these hadiths are
Infinite
fabricated, bro.
permutations.
That's all I do know, and I'm out of here. Assalamu
Right.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. So yeah, hadith is fabricated, and we know that there was an adhan because of hadith. Cool. Sayyid Salim.
Peace, brother. Thank you for
Peace.
having me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So from my perspective, right, about I don't know, I've been a Quranist for about 10 years before I even knew Rashad existed, and the verses that clarified to me the beauty in the Quran was when I started reading the Quran, right? Even through their fabrications, even through the injections of many words and everything else in the Quran. When I read it, I realized, wait a second, this isn't the religion I was taught. Now we're all in that bucket now. We're all outside of this hadith nonsense. But
Sayyid, I apologize. There's a lot of people. I just need a question.
sorry, yeah, of course. So my question, linking back to this experience, one of the only things that I needed to be resolved was the prayer, right? And like you at the time, because I was using Edip's translation, I prayed 3 times. But unlike you, I prayed in the noon, because that's my understanding of tarafin, not the tarafin nahal. What's the one with the
Duluk al-shamsi ila ghasaq
Duluk
al-layl.
al-shams, right? Because I was thinking that was rubbing the noon, right? And so the question is, if you were in Muhammad's time and Muhammad showed you exactly how to pray, would you obey him?
Hypotheticals. I like hypotheticals. Yes, if the Prophet at the time when I was alive and he showed me, yes. But now, how do you know that the Prophet prayed the noon prayer? Like that's not a question. But if you have a question, please.
Yeah, so for me, the question is about this 3-time prayer, right? When I investigated 1778, that was the
But
only source I used.
1778 is not talking about from the noon to, because God is saying,
Hold on. Let me finish my question. Let me finish the question.
Please.
So the verse about the Taraf and Nahar, I use one verse effectively. As a Quranist, I investigated this verse many times over. And in my mind, 2 ends of the day counted for 2 of the prayers. And then I've got Salat al-Wusta. So for me, that was enough. So I did, unlike you, I did Maghrib, Isha, and then in the middle, somewhere in noon, right?
Okay.
I understand your
Can
position.
I answer you? You're telling me your position. You're not asking a question, but I can answer that position. Now, the calendar day does not start.
That wasn't
Fajr.
a question.
The calendar day starts at when?
What?
To the setting of the sun. That's when the calendar day starts.
From
okay?
a lunar
Night
calendar, yeah.
and then day. Okay. So when God is saying, first verse, he's saying tarafay nahar, the 2 ends of the day. And then God starts with duluk al-shamsi ila ghasaq al-layl, which is Maghrib, and he's telling you Quran al-Fajr. So he's telling you Maghrib is the first prayer and Fajr is the second prayer. So what one is the middle? The one that's the night prayer. And God tells you to preserve your night prayer. Why? Because God tells you that the Prophet used to stand a half, 2/3, or 1/3. So this is one of the hardest yet most beneficial prayer for you. So that's why God is telling you to observe that one and to make sure that you're observing that one.
But
that's why it's
that wasn't
Salatul
my
Wusta.
question. That wasn't my question. So we had a difference in understanding of Salatul Wusta. You went, let's say, the left side towards night. That's fine. Per your understanding.
When do you
said
start
just-
Taraweeh? At night or the next day?
I don't do Taraweeh. What are you talking about?
Well, why do they start Taraweeh on the day they see the moon, not the next night?
No, the
I
point
mean,
is this.
Ramadan starts with the night and then the day. You know what I'm
But
saying?
both calendars are in the Quran, right? 300 increased by 9. But my question is the fact that I use one verse
last
to
question,
establish
though.
3 players. I'm asking, when you analyze more verses, 24, 58, 17, 78, and all these other verses.
24 is not talking about prayers. Where do you say aqim as-salah there? It says wasabbih bihamdi
But
rabbika.
the third of the night and the
It says
2/3
Salat
of the night.
al-Isha, Salat al-Fajr is denying
24?
those
No,
are
I'm
even
talking about the
Salat.
verse we're about
This is
commemorating.
Quranism.
No, it's not Quran. Which verse did you say?
24:58
Not,
is what he's citing.
sorry, 24:58 is giving you the times
24:58.
of the two. The times of the two.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the one in 20, I believe, where he's saying وَسَبَّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ أَطْرَافَ النَّهَارِ وَقَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الشَّمْسِ وَقَبْلَ غُرُوبِهَا وَمِنْ أَنَاءِ اللَّيْلِ لَعَلَّكَ تَرْضَى. But when he's talking about, God giving you literally 3 names of salahs in the Quran. He gave you 3 names.
There's 2 names.
And
3 names.
Is Wusta
Salat
one of the
al-Fajr,
names?
Salat al-Maghrib,
Salat
Salat al-Wusta.
al-Wusta is not a name.
It is a name. That's why al-Wusta.
It's a period as well. The one that you forget in 24:58 is Salat, not Salat, but al-Zuhr, right?
Al-Dhahira. Al-Dhahira doesn't mean it's Salat. God
fine.
literally says Salat al-Fajr, Al-Dhahira, Salat al-Maghrib.
Right.
Salat
The Salat
Isha.
during
So he
Wusta.
didn't call it Salah.
So the Salat during Wusta. But the semantics is irrelevant.
Ladies
My
and
point is,
gentlemen,
if you use
even
one
the
verse to
Sunnis,
understand the Quran, like how is that enough?
even the Sunnis prove that there's 3. Because the Qad in chapter 17, 78, I believe, no, later, 17, he says that do not be loud in your prayers and do not be low in your prayers. Sunnis pray the same 5s that they do. But Sunnis are only loud in the Fajr, the Maghrib, and the Isha, which would be the 2 ends of the day and the night prayer. But they're silent in the Dhuhr and they're silent in the Asr. And if you ask Rashad Khalifa when you should pray your Asr, he goes 3 hours before the sunset. So please, guys, let's move on to the next person because you guys are just holding on to your interpretation, yet the Quran is showing you something else. When he's saying, that's one period. It's not from noon to twilight is one prayer. That's a 7-hour prayer. So
this is just
let's carry on.
interpretations. You're just giving your brand of Quranism versus
which
the
existed before Rashad. Which existed before Rashad. Yep, existed before Rashad, bro. People were Quran alone before Rashad.
Let's go to the next person.
Yep, Mr. Crossing Tooth. What's up, bro?
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Peace be upon you. What's your question and who is it for? Go ahead.
It's for you, Navid. I want to ask you, it's a bit of a hypothetical, but I still want you to answer it. If Hitler himself died before age of 39, would he go to heaven?
God controls life and death. Hitler didn't die before the age of 40 because he didn't deserve to go to heaven. So anyone who dies under 40 is not held responsible for the eternal hereafter. But if you commit crimes under 40 and then you die over 40 like Ted Bundy, then you burn in hell forever.
No, but Navid, you didn't answer my question.
I did answer your question. I did answer.
No, that's just wait. No, just 1 second. I don't want to debate. I don't want to debate.
He did answer. He's saying that it's not possible for him to die before 40. That's why he's trying to tell you. It's impossible.
But that's why I said I want you to answer my hypothetical from the beginning.
No, ask him this. There's a very easier one. There's an easier one. So these Zionists that are killing Palestinian children right now and they're dying at 31 years old, do they go to heaven?
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to use a big person who's done
a lot of evil, right?
I could use Alexander the Great too, right? I could use him too. He died at 32.
Yeah.
So that's why I want you to answer it. At that, if he would have died,
anyone who dies under, it's really simple. Anyone who dies under 40 goes to heaven. That's God's system. That's God's law, and God decides who deserves to go to heaven.
You see, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Crossing, for this.
question is for me.
Navid.
The question is for me, Muhammad. I let you answer when the questions were for you. The question's for me. Right? The
I just wanted to answer.
Yeah, and I answered you. I'm telling you, anyone who dies under 40 goes to heaven. You can go to Appendix 32 by Dr. Rashad Khalifa, explains this, and he actually addresses this very well.
I know it, Navid. I read it.
Yeah. And so why are you giving the third paragraph there exactly your response? Your first reaction to this piece of information is objection. What if the person was really evil? Bad, really bad, evil, an atheist. Will he go to heaven if he died before the age of 40? This is because you're mean while God is most merciful. Our tendency to put them all in hell. People object to strongly.
No, because this is, ladies and gentlemen.
God controls life and death. The Quran says
this is on par. This is on par. It's like how 3 equals 1. They will say that that's because he said it. Guys, he's proven to you. He's proven to you that absolutely you can't even accept it. You logically you cannot accept it.
Sorry, guys. I don't want to cause a debate. I'm sorry, guys.
It's not a debate. Mr. Tooth, what do you set the age of responsibility at?
Please don't ask me questions. I'm not
All right, well, then I'll just
knowledgeable to answer questions.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Well, you're making assertions, so you claim to have some kind of knowledge.
No. Navid, please.
Let me answer you. Then let me respond. You're not going to.
No, wait, buddy. Why are you ranting? I want to.
Mr. Crossing Tooth, let him talk.
Sorry.
Let him explain to us why age of 40 is the age of maturity.
In the Quran, it's not the age of maturity, it's the age of responsibility. In the Quran, God says the people that go to hell were given a lifelong chance. That's a minimum of 40 years. We have many evidences to substantiate. There's a new article on Quran Talk blog that explores this further and gives additional evidences. I would invite you to go read that article. It's QuranTalkblog.com. The newer article is listed on the right at the top. It's going to give you additional.
I've read enough. I read enough of yours.
You haven't. If you've read enough, then why are you coming up and asking me questions?
Because I don't want you to. I don't want you to.
Hypothetical.
So you're just wasting our time.
No,
it's not wasting your time. It's proven.
I can't actually grasp my head around that. You cannot. You cannot.
That's fine. God controls life and death. Do you deny this?
Yeah,
you can laugh, but you can laugh, but that's not a.
David, what if I kill myself at 39? Do I go to heaven?
80% of suicides fail. So
you see,
that's not my question. That's not my question, Navid.
Absolutely.
Navid, I can force my murder. I can force my suicide.
Only God says in chapter 6.
Murder, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. I understand that, but your interpretation is flawed. I have a very simple question.
The lifespan is only known by God. You cannot guarantee your own death.
The lifespan, right? Okay, Navid, you said a point. Let me say it. Let me answer. You're saying the lifespan with God? Yes, God gave you a set time.
You're making this into another
debate. Right, but I have the ability to respond. So he gave you a set lifespan.
The question wasn't for you.
But even if you go watch all debates when it comes to question and answer, the other person has a point.
Yeah.
I have the time to respond to you. This is how questions and answers happen. God gives you a set lifetime, but someone can cut it short by murdering you. I can guarantee.
It's not cutting short. The Quran says no one's life is cut short. What are you talking about? Now you're just blatantly going against the Quran.
Let me talk because it's my turn.
In the Quran. No one's life is cut short in the Quran.
That's what murder is. God, because if I didn't get murdered, like Rashad didn't get murdered, he would live longer. God gave him the time, and someone took that time away from him. And Navid, it's my turn to respond to what you said. That's how questions and answers work. He asked you a question, I get to have a response. So God asked us in the Quran that if you are truthful, if you love God, to wish for death. If I force my death at 38, and that's what God wrote for me, I'm guaranteed heaven. Instead of waiting till 41 and 42, where I have a 50-50 chance of making it to heaven or not. So I can guarantee everyone today by blowing a nuclear bomb, right, to a place where there's just children and get them all to heaven because they're 28, 20. People in America right now are really messed up because they're most likely going to hell if they hit the 40. Can't I just put them to heaven? I would be an amazing servant of God at that point.
And Navid, please. You heard.
No, okay. bro. No, we're done because that's not fair. We're not.
I just want him to think for a second, but okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the answer.
Appreciate it.
Sorry for the heated debate here. Sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. But this is what we mean.
Yeah.
At least we're having it. I mean, what's going on, bro?
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Muhammad. How are you? Blessings of God and peace be upon you, my dear brother. Mr. Navid, I have a question for you. Several things that you have claimed that the Quran only followers are following the Sunnis, yet the evidence shows that you're the ones who only follow the Sunni path.
Can you give an
It
example?
has been brought.
Just make a clear question.
Yeah.
Just give an example. Ask a clear question. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Lecture me.
Calm down. Calm down. Relax. It's coming. Be respectful, please. It was asked to you to provide a verse from the Quran that talks about throwing 21 stones during Hajj. Yet you squiggled your way.
Is that your question?
Beat around the
Hold on.
bush.
Is this your question?
That's the question.
Is this your question?
If
okay,
you,
so go. Okay,
please.
mute yourself now. Mute yourself now.
Please be patient.
Mute yourself
Please
now.
be patient. Please be patient.
Give your question and let me answer. Don't
please,
waste our time.
I am trying to ask you the question, but you have to have the patience. You have given.
Do you have any other
the
question?
time. You have given the time to other people to talk for 10 minutes and debate on here.
Yeah, this is
Yet
not,
you are not willing to listen for 2 seconds. Please hold your tongue and be respectful. The question is, if you do have the evidence, then provide it to us. If you do not, then who gave you the authority to fabricate lies? Did God give you that authority, or did you give the authority to yourself? That's the question.
He asked his question. He's just taking
Perfect.
shots now.
That's
Look,
it.
it's very simple. Al-Hajj has a definition. The definition includes 21 pebbles being thrown at the 3 stations. Just like a push-up, a definition of a push-up means put your hand on the ground, chest down, and pump up. That's a push-up. That's a definition of it. Al-Hajj includes the pebble throwing as part of the definition of the word. These are established rights from Abraham, and we need to purify the rights and get out of what needs to be purified. That's it. The messenger of the covenant's job is to purify the existing practice. You, my friend, want to fabricate and concoct an entire religion based on your interpretation of the Quran alone. That is the wrong methodology.
That's
because
not
Hajj
the evidence of the Quran.
Yeah.
So when
Abraham didn't have a
Hajj,
Quran. Abraham didn't have a Quran. So do you need
so this
Quran
question,
from Hajj?
but that's it. That he answered your question.
All right, that's fine.
He answered the
That's
question.
fine. Thank you.
He asked the question.
Thank
You
you.
answered it. Now I have the
right,
time
thank
to respond. Right?
Yeah.
That's how
Yes,
questions
please
and
do.
answers work in debate. Now I appreciate the
I
question.
stepped away when a bunch of these other guys asked you questions.
Sure. Do you want me not to respond? That's fine. But that's how questions and
I
answers
would
work.
like
Would you like to hear
I would
that
like
after?
Muhammad, please, to respond to the answer. Thank you.
I'll just know that going forward. I'm gonna chime in more.
Please, sorry, and I apologize. And you can respond to my response, and then we'll stop at that question. So, yes, the thing is, the Quran is there to clarify. It's a clarifying book, and we did not leave anything out of the book. And it's there for you to understand what needs to be done. God is telling us all the rights in the Hajj, which includes the sacrifice, Arafat, Muzdalifah, walking around the house, walking around the mountains. The 2 mountains optional, but he never mentioned anything about stoning an idol, right? A stoning an idol is not mentioned in the Quran. Kissing the rock is not in the Quran. So Rashad rejects kissing of the rock, which is part of Hajj, or do you kiss the black rock, which is recommended? Do you pray the 2 prayers before you do the tawaf? Because that's what so it is. But that's what he's saying is the definition of
He gives
Hajj.
us a clear direction of Hajj. You can watch his video.
Perfect. See, so it's what he likes. It's not substantiated with the Quran.
It's
So I
what
appreciate
God
that, man.
tells God's messenger of the covenant. That's what God dictates. And look,
Thank you.
I think the fundamental difference is. Do you want me to? Okay. Yeah, the fundamental difference here is the understanding of what the Quran is. The Quran is a repair manual. The Quran repairs what's broken. And the Quranists here want to concoct an entire religion using the Quran alone. That's not the function of the Quran. The Quran corrects what already exists. This is why you have non-ritual Quranists, because they're not able to string these together to get a practice. So your actually biggest opponents are not even submitters. They're non-ritual Quranists, flat earth Quranists, which honestly are a majority now. You're going to come under attack from these guys because your permutation of Quranism is not substantiated. Simple as that.
Okay, sure. Even though you could see on my platform and the size of my platform and the size of Baba Shuaiba's platform, where we agree on the primary and secondary, and we reach the same conclusions independently, as did many people in the Middle East reach the same conclusions. But
He
you can have time to
rejects.
respond.
You know what's crazy about this? Baba Shoaib rejects the concept of a code 19. You accept it. So one of you is going to hell. One is accepted a
No.
fake miracle.
No,
Yes,
that's not how it
yeah.
works.
So
Right,
okay,
Naveed,
so
that's
do you
not how it
believe someone
works.
can reject God's signs and go to heaven?
No, what Shu'aiba is rejecting is the removal of 2 verses.
No, he doesn't even acknowledge any capacity to code 19. Go watch my debate with him.
No, yeah, I did see it, but he's saying that it's not a
He
miracle
rejects-
in the way that you want to push it.
Uh-huh. He says there is no
Exactly.
actually.
You're
He
not
actually
telling what my friend
questions.
says.
You could laugh about it. He questions even the existence of any code 19. He says Allah has nothing to do with code 19. So
What
according to
happened
your
between
logic, he's
Rashad?
going to go to hell.
What happened between Rashad and his best friend, one of his really good close friends, Udep Excel, who carried on with what Rashad was doing? But Rashad said that this guy is going to hell, right? That he's damned and cursed and going to hell.
And he's still. And
Yeah.
he's still
Why is Udep Excel going to hell?
And he still had
Because the messenger knows who's going to hell and not, right?
Actually, well, he's a good judge. He says,
I don't know what's going to happen to me or you, is what the verse in the Quran says. But Udep is saying that. I mean, Rashad is saying Udep is going to hell.
You know what's crazy about
Who believes in God alone, and he's translating the Quran and he's working hard.
He's the founder of Quranism, which you subscribe to. But let's just say this: you said
He's the founder of Quranism when it existed before Rashad.
Yes, sir.
When it existed before Rashad.
Where's Quranism before Rashad? What are you talking about?
There's many people, even Shafi'i, who was a proponent for Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
We're talking about the modern era. We're talking about the modern era. The last 5
Quranism didn't exist.
Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad and Omar and all these did not judge with just the
Talking
Quran.
about the modern era, bro. Are you not?
Shafi'i was not talking about hadith rejectors at all. Like they're rejecting all the hadith.
You're just not understanding. Let's move on from this point. You
Yeah,
said
please.
that you said the leaders were not punished, but the bottom line is actually they were. Gaddafi, who kidnapped Rashad and had him mentally tortured in 1986, how did he die? He died in a horrendous, bloody revolution. He died by getting anally stabbed with the bayonet.
Okay.
He suffered a horrendous, brutal death for attacking and mentally tormenting God's messenger of the covenant. That's the punishment. But guess what? The punishment he receives in this life is nothing like the next life. He's going to suffer tremendously. Absolutely. You said no one suffered. He incarcerated and mentally tortured God's messenger of the covenant.
And Libya is still standing.
What do you mean Libya?
You know, when Prophet Muhammad came, the pagan Arabs ceased to exist. It's not just one man.
The land still exists, of course, but the
No. The whole country still exists. The whole system still exists. When God removes them, He removes everything to do with them.
In 2011, bro. All over.
Well, yeah, but Pharaoh, and everything that Pharaoh did went with him. The pagan Arab, all their religion went with them.
Now you're just
the Romans ceased to exist after Jesus in the way that they were. But let's carry on. This is
nonsense.
This is awesome. Alaikum salam. Your mic is really low, but don't turn it too high.
It's better?
No, I can't hear you.
Now better?
No, I'm sorry, Bestie. We're gonna have to move on.
Wait, I come back.
You want to talk to me? Join the Discord server. Come talk to me over there. Right now, your mic is cannot understand you.
Tony.
Oh, hello, boys. You hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Yo, I have a question, and it's the verse 5 from the Surah 10. Because God says in the Surah, wait a second. It is He who made the sun a shining light and the moon a derived light and determinate for its phases, that you may know the number of years and account of time. Allah has not created this except in truth. He details the signs for a people who know. And I think with the system today, we have the false time, you know, the false calculation, because God,
brother, we're talking.
Do you believe the earth is flat, Mr. Singh?
Tony, the questions are in regard to the debate.
It's for a debate? Yeah, man. Maybe you made
flat earth Quranists just came up on here. You believe the earth is flat and you believe this verse.
Tony, do you have a question in regard to the debate?
To the debate?
Or would you like to ask us if this plant is a fallen angel?
Where does the Rashad say that plants are fallen angels? Do you have a quote, or are you gonna keep?
Sure, I can show you the appendix if you want.
For this topic, I can say only one question. Because Rashad have many good things to say, and God chose him to find this quote for us. But many things I'm not with him, you know. It's difficult, but my question for this topic is the code 19 is obvious. Many times appears in the Quran. With you can't deny this, man. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the code 19 is a miracle from God. That's absolutely correct.
Yes.
It's undeniable.
Yeah, mashallah, the Prophet Muhammad had an amazing book that had an amazing miracles in it.
Muhammad says he doesn't have a physical miracle.
Yeah, but exactly. So the code 19 is part of the Quran. The Quran is the miracle from God to the Prophet.
ahead,
So
Mr.
let's not give
Majudi.
credit. Let's not give credit where credit is not due.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Muhammad. Wa alaikum Navid. So, yeah, peace. So when Rashad says in a submitter's perspective, he is an original Quranist. He is a Quranist. What part of Ahl Sunnah will Navid do I use that as a term of endearment and disrespect towards someone? It's like you're disobeying the messenger. And Muhammad, I'd like your opinion on this too.
Yeah,
So can
hey,
you repeat
Muhammad,
it
can you
again?
drop this guy? He's a troll. We know him. We banned him from the
No, so no,
Can you drop
Muhammad,
this
I've been
guy?
on your live before, but my
Yeah.
question's
So what
still
was
valid.
your
I haven't.
what was your
We banned
question?
this guy.
So my question is that when Rashad himself, in a submitter's perspective, granted he edited it, said that they're original Quranists. At what point
This
did
guy's
that
a troll,
term
Muhammad.
be
Just
used?
drop him. He's irrelevant.
Can I? No, I'm
You've
asking
already banned him.
respectfully.
Just move to the next person. He's a troll. Just trust me. Just trust
At
me
what
on this.
part
He's not a
did
good
that
guy.
term become a term of disrespect and like
Yeah, I can,
almost degeneration from
probably late
the
90s,
Zionist
early
Muta
2000s.
server?
Okay, so bro, relax. Listen, so
Just
I
bro, just
understand
mute
what
this
you might.
guy. You said you're going to make me a
One
mod,
minute.
right? Or I'm a
Naveed,
co-host.
okay, you know what? Look, I'm gonna
He just
remove
said
Majid.
Muta and Quran. He's taking
I
attacks.
get
He's a
it.
troll.
I get it. So
Thank
so listen. So the thing is, he's not insulting Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He's just saying that the Sunnah, these people that say Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they have concepts of shirk, which me and Rashad and Naveed and the other people who claim that the Quran alone, we are all in unison there. This is the common ground that we have, that we believe that the Quran is sufficient and our interpretations differ. Naveed, on one hand, believes that there's a man that came that is a messenger to help him understand the Quran. I just don't accept that. But we are in unison that the enemy is the one who came up and concocted things about the Quran and made these terms. Like Naveed's calling himself submitter, which is a translation of Muslim. But nowhere did God call us Sunnis or Shias or Ahlul Sunnah or Ahlul Jama'ah and all of this nonsense. So we're Ahlul Quran.
Don't entertain him. Let someone else come up. Remove the Majudi guy. He's a troll. We've banned him many times.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace be upon you, Romeos.
I have a question for Navid. Can you explain the temporary God or the fake God thing in detail?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. So the whole reason we're here is because Iblis at the time made the thought that he could be a God besides God. He had a high ego, and he said, I can rule my own dominion, separate and independent from God. God says, you think you can do this? Here's your chance. God created the dominion, gave him constituents, and the whole idea is that he needs to run this world. Of course, he cannot. He's a fake God, but he was allowed a chance to try to substantiate his claim. He failed in that substantiation. He's inadequate to be any kind of God, and he is a fake God. And that's what we understand. And God tells us about the great feud. I believe it's chapter 38, verse 69. God talks about the great feud in the heavenly society. And this is what the great feud was about this idea, this concept that Satan could be an independent God besides God. So, the creatures had different levels of understanding on this. The angels never took a different opinion. There were rebels. Some of the rebels repented. They became the animals. And then the remaining rebels were the jinns and humans. And the jinns and humans, God says, we created the heavens and the earth for the jinns and humans to worship me. That's why we're here.
Sorry, who's the jinn and the humans?
The remainder of the rebels. And so you
Okay,
keep
and who are the
repeating this
rebels? I'm
the
trying to
people
understand.
that
Who's the rebels?
entertain, the people that entertain the idea that Satan could be a god besides God. So nowhere, my understanding is nowhere ever did Rashad say that trees are fallen angels. So you just made that up and you keep attributing it to Rashad. That's not a thing.
So who's the leader of the rebels?
Satan is the leader of the rebels.
And was he an angel?
He was an angel, yes, but he's not a tree.
And if he chose to repent, what would have happened to him?
He will not repent.
He
He did not repent. It's too late.
But I'm asking you if he repented.
No.
Did
Satan
any other
is
angels
the
support Satan? See, Navid, I'm asking you a simple question.
Satan is
You
the
fail to
father.
answer.
Satan, no problem. Satan is the father of the jinns.
Did other angels rebel with him?
They became jinns.
Oh, what if an angel rebelled with him and chose the path of repentance? What happens? They become plants, deformed children.
They were not angels.
Suns
They were not
and
angels.
stars. So you substantiated the claim. Thank you.
No, no.
So there's no angel. Now you have to show me how, Navid, you have to show me how no angels that rebelled repented. After you show me where Iblis said that he wanted to be a god from the Quran.
They would never rebel in the first place. They remained just as angels. But you're claiming that
Iblis was an angel that rebelled.
Yes.
You see,
And
Ron?
the rest of
Thanks,
them-
bro. Your
the
facial
rest of-
expression is
the rest of the jinns that rebelled became the rest of the angels that rebelled became jinns, and that's it.
Okay, what if they repented? They became plants.
No jinns repented. No, there's no place.
How do you
that
prove
Rashad
it?
said jinn- How do I prove what?
Okay,
Do I
an
go with someone
angel,
that's getting communication
an angel
from
rebelled.
you or you?
No.
I don't even-
And Rashad Khalifa said
Abner
the
is
leaders
correct.
and the rebels,
Origin
the
story.
leaders and the rebels, if they
After
repented, he said
After
the
this.
leaders and the, oh man, come on, man. Do you guys want to read it together? Like, do you actually want to sit and read what Rashad wrote? You have no stand. There's the leader and the rebels. So there's some angels that rebelled with Iblis, according to Rashad. And some of these rebels said, no, I want to come back to the grace of God. So for their punishment of blasphemy, they became plants, retarded children, horses, dogs, and stars. So some of these rebels were angels, and some of them were the intelligence
Where does it
creatures
say
of heaven.
some of them were where does it say some were angels?
He said rebels and their leader. Their leader is an angel. Some of the but then he see how he wants to cover his says. Oh, no angel that rebelled actually wanted repentance. They all became jinn. What?
Yes.
That's not what Rashad says. He says the jinn that the people that wanted to prove that Satan was and he says for the rebels and their leaders, to expedite their blasphemy, they became dogs and stars and suns. Even though God is telling the sky, come to me.
Read that.
Read
that portion. Go ahead. Read that portion.
Sure. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's do it, guys. Let's prove once and for all that this man is actually twisting the verse, what Rashad is saying. Can you guys see my screen?
No, but just read it for us.
No.
Here we go. No, I'll share it so we can see it together. So you don't say that I'm misquoting and all this other stuff that you guys keep saying. So here is what he says, okay? The angels, creatures who never questions God's absolute authorities. The animals, although the angels suggested that rebels and their leaders should be exiled, and the leader, which is Iblis, should be exiled from God's kingdom, the most merciful willed to give the rebels a chance to denounce their crime, repent, and submit to his ability, his absolute authority. As represented in the diagram above, the vast majority of the rebels took advantage of God's gracious offer to re-enter his kingdom. They agreed to kill their egos, come to this world to perform a submissive role as an expiation for their blasphemy. In return for their submissive role in the world, these creatures are redeemed back to God's eternal kingdom. The horse, the dog, the tree, the sun, the moon, the stars, as well as deformed and retarded children are among the intelligent creatures who denounced their crimes and repented. So when you're looking at the diagram, he's talking about those that rebelled with Satan, which some of them are angels. He's saying the majority of those that rebelled with Satan wanted to get back to God's grace, and they became dogs and retarded children. And if you go to the jinn, which God doesn't say this about the Quran, because Quran says that some of the jinns are believers, the other half of guilty creatures. Over there, he says the majority, and now he's saying half of the creatures. So half are humans and half are jinn. Those who lean closer to Satan's point of view,
oh my God.
I get it, half of the rebels, because humans are rebels. Of Satan's point of view, exhibited the biggest ego, became classified as jinn. It was God's plan to assign one jinn to every human being from birth to death. The jinn companion represents Satan and constantly promotes his point of view. Both the jinn and humans are given a precious chance to re-educate. 1 second, I wanted to show you. To denounce themselves, redeem themselves by submitting to God's authority. Whenever a human being is born, a jinn is born, which doesn't say that, and is assigned to a new human. And that's not what God says in the Quran. We learn from the Quran that jinns are Satan's descendants, which is not the truth. When a jinn is being born and assigned to a human being, the jinn remains a constant companion to the human. The jinn is then freed and lives on for a few centuries. Both humans and jinns are required to worship God alone. Like, where are you getting all this information from? This is all just nonsense.
So chapter 72, verse 26 and 27 says, I seek over to God for say the rejected. By the way, this is the chapter with the most instances of Rashad. He is the knower of the future. He does not reveal the future to anyone, only to a messenger that he chooses does he reveal from the past and the future specific news. So this is specific news from the past that God revealed to his messenger. And this statement only to a messenger has a geometrical value of 1919. Yet again, more substantiation that God gives information through his message to us. Chapter 42, verse 51 tells us that God reveals to us information through his messenger. So now God has given us information from the past. You don't like this information, so it's causing you to become arrogant and reject the messenger of God. That's really it.
Or maybe this information that's presented and what he said about the jinn, okay, this is not actually presented in the Quran, because the jinn, the devils, they descend on every willful or sinful liar. هل أنبئكم على من تتنزل الشياطين تتنزل على كل كذاب أثيم. Should I tell you on who the devils descend upon? On every sinful liar. ومن يعش عن ذكر الله نقيض له شيطانا فإنه له قرين. And whoever removes himself from the remembrance of God, we give him a devil that his companion. And وإنهم يضلونهم وإنهم يحسبون أنهم مهتدون. And they will delude them, and they think so. Not every human has a jinn, as Rashad wants to
Every human
claim.
has a jinn, but we're just getting into.
No, that's not what the Quran said. It's only the liars who get possessed by these jinns. But that's fine, bro. I think we should move on. Robin, were you content with Navid's answer on how Satan's a temporary god on earth?
It was an interesting answer, I will say. Okay. Thank you very much. Peace to you, everyone.
Peace. Carlos.
Peace be upon you, Muhammad and Navid.
Peace be upon you.
Muhammad, I used to be one of your followers, but I joined the submission server after watching one of your lives. It was interesting because you said, Rashad, he pretended to be a messenger, and I had heard of Code 19 quite a while, right? So I joined him, and Navid, he was very, he convinced me, and I became a submitter. So my question to you is, why do you not believe that God can send a messenger in our time to explain to us what the book says? Or why do you believe that messengers can have different interpretations that contradict each other?
Right, the interpretations still have to align to the book. Also, you're detaching from the book and you're saying temporary God, and that's what God has created. And that's what God has willed. It's not even that's what happened, it's what God has willed. God willed for this to happen. When there's a difference between permission and will. God has willed, for God's will was for Satan, for Iblis to prostrate to Adam. But Iblis had the permission to reject God. But it doesn't mean that God wanted Iblis to reject God's word. God doesn't want to put people in hell.
That's the thing. Iblis chose to go to hell. Now you're saying, you're saying
a representation.
You're saying that he cannot be a temporary God, but do you know about chapter 36, verse 60 that says, "Did I not covenant with you, children of Adam, that you shall not worship the devil? He's your most ardent enemy." Okay.
What the word ibadah? What does it mean?
Let me write it. Let me read it. God willing.
Yeah. If he's using the word worship, it's not what the Arabic said.
Really?
Yeah. يا بني آدم ألم أحد إليكم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين ونعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. O child of Adam, did I tell you not to serve the devil? He's a clear enemy to you, and to serve me, for that is the clear path.
To worship me.
So ibadah is not worship. Ibadah is servitude. That's why it comes from the root word of abid. Abid is someone who serves. A servant. Right. So ibadah is servitude. Worship is exaltation.
Ibadah is worship.
No. Ibadah is not worship in linguistic Arabic. Even in English, worship does not mean servitude. Ibadah is worship is the feeling, and so this is what the word worship means. Like now we're gonna talk about easy English. So let's go. The word worship is right here in front of you, and it means.
This is really sad.
Let me zoom in. Yeah. So when we say the word feeling is the feeling,
we say
or expression of reverence.
So yeah. So when we say you alone we worship, you alone we ask for help. So you're denying.
We alone we serve. You alone we serve. The word worship is tasbih, nusabbihu bihamdika.
This is
Quranic. Worship is what you would you like to see the word servitude and what that means?
All right.
Servitude, a state of being a slave or completely subject to someone more powerful. That's ibadah. وَلَا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانِ. Do not serve the devil. وَعْبُدُونِي وَسَبِّحُوا بِحَمْدِي. That's worship me. So I think, again, we're just proving that these people fail in just the basic Arabic. Basic Arabic words, because they read a translation that is very
Let's not talk about Arabic because I don't know any Arabic. I can just read. I don't know the words.
Fair enough.
Maybe this is why I became a Muslim, right? But I'll tell you something. I'll ask you something. Why do you believe?
You already asked your question.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna ask another one if you want. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, this has been a 2.5-hour stream, and we still have many people in the line. If you want to ask one more question, please go ahead.
Yeah, one more question. Give me one proof that Rashad is a liar. He cannot be a messenger of God.
Sure. Do you want him lying?
Yeah.
Do you want to lie? Okay. Rashad, in his video about contact prayers, said the following words. He said that for the Adhan, he said in the 1950s, where is it? Yeah, that the Adhan was 15 minutes long, and there was many things that have been added over many years, more than what they had in 1950s. And in 1950s, they shortened it to what we have today. And there was also a government mandated that his government is the one who mandated to shorten the Adhan from 15 minutes to whatever we have now, which is not the case, because the Adhan that they have was the same from the 17, 16, 1500. The modifications happened.
Religion, but you diverted the subject to something that's irrelevant.
You said if he lied, this is a lie about the Adhan.
Okay, about the
you want more lies? Okay, let's go. That you shouldn't go to Hajj 10 years until you have been a submitter for 10 years, because Hajj will.
That's his opinion. That's not a religious command. That's his
opinion.
He
says it's a general recommendation. He doesn't say
it's general recommendation. So this is him recommending that if you go to Hajj early, you become Arab.
Many people go to Hajj and they do it just for.
But you perform your version of Salat, Masjid al-Nabi in Nabawi in Medina, right? So you pray where
God exactly.
Pray. Yeah, so you
because I'm showing you the verses where I'm getting from, right?
So you idolize the Prophet against his will. He would condemn you for this.
I'm not idolizing the Prophet. How am I idolizing the Prophet?
Why do you pray? Because you pray in a prohibited masjid that happens to be the grave of the Prophet.
Who said that it was prohibited?
God says it's prohibited. God says,
show me where it says that.
A masjid that's based on idol worship. The masjid al-Nabawi.
It's not based on idol worship.
Oh, really?
So yeah, because God says the foundation. Do you understand what it means by foundation?
Yeah, the whole foundation is wrong. The salat there is
wrong. No, the beginning of that foundation, the Prophet was not in it. He's the one who actually raised it. Just like how Abraham raised the Mecca and there's idol worship there. So am I not allowed to pray in Mecca? Why is Rashad praying in Mecca when there was idolatry happening there?
Masjid. There's not two sacred masjids. You're Sunni now, or what?
I'm not calling it a sacred masjid. When did I say it's a sacred masjid?
Okay, so if it's
Rashad
not sacred,
lied enough in regards to what we talked about the jinn. He lied about the age of 40. He lied about
it is shirk. It is shirk is prohibited from praying in such a masjid. Simple as that.
Sure. Whatever your interpretation says. But here's the funny part. You said shirk. So if God did not say that if someone dies before the age of 40, and you keep attributing that to God, that is literally what definition of shirk is. You are attributing an idea that someone had, and you're saying that it's a revelation from God. And if it is not from God, you are committing shirk. Just so we can concede that point.
Tell me this. Concede this. What is the significance of the age of 40?
I can't hear you. You're far from the mic.
What is the significance of the age of 40? Tell me.
You become a leader.
What?
That's the age where you're really in a good position to become a leader of the believers. وَجْعَلْنِي إِمَامًا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, and make me a leader of the righteous.
How do you know that Muhammad established that masjid? Hadith, right?
No.
What do you have?
From the Quran.
Where does the Quran say establish a masjid?
No, a masjid that was built upon the foundation of it.
How do you know Muhammad built the masjid there? How do you know Muhammad built the masjid there?
It's literally buried in it, bro. Like this is like Aina Mecca. How do you know where's Mecca? From the Quran alone. Because we're talking about geography and history here. I'm not bringing you religious doctrine from hadith. I'm not telling you to pick up 21 stones. I'm telling you about history here. But you feel between history and guidance. You're being a Sunni now.
All right.
But anyways, apologetics. I've presented many lies in this debate, if you were listening, on a lot of things that Rashad has interpolated from the Quran, which the Quran does not substantiate. That's what is called a lie. That's definitely what a lie is. God didn't talk about 21 stones. That's a lie.
Is the reason you disagree with me, the reason you
But brother, I said one more question and we're moving on.
All right, let the next person come up. The masjid is
amazing.
built on his grave. It's a place of idol worship, and you're substantiating a shrine of idol worship.
No, I'm not substantiated because I'm not going there to visit the Prophet. Yeah, cool. There, no. What's up, brother?
Yo, hello. You hear me right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I want to congratulate you for you both for this excellent debate that you did. Without the moderator, it was very good. It was civil. It was very heated too. But I'm really like the fact that you come along and you discuss about very important and very crucial issues together. I really commend you for what you did. It was not easy, and yeah, that's that. And yeah, I want to ask a question. It's not about the debate. It's about what are the feelings that you got from for the other side? Like, do you got something good to say about the other side?
Thank you. Excellent question, bro. I like that question. So for me, I'd never wanted to sit and actually talk about the Rashad followers and all this, because to me it's nonsense. It's like talking to non-ritual people. It's just a waste of time, because they just don't have knowledge and actual understanding of what the Arabic is saying. So they just go by what daddy's saying. So I never attacked them. I never went at them. I let them do their own thing. And I have 2 videos defending Navid from Sunnis when he says something that is honest and true, that is substantiated with the Quran. And if the Sunnis wanted to attack him, I defended him twice. But all of a sudden now I'm an enemy of God, and I am a Muhammad from Satan, and all these other nonsense that they want to do. I just wanted to show the world who Rashad was. It's not about code 19 all this and his character and all this. It's not for me. It's between him and his Lord. But when he's coming down and he's telling me about what the religion says, he's wrong. It's simple. And these people, I'll take them now, as I do with everyone else, individually. If a person is coming respectful and talking, I just don't want to talk about Rashad to you, and that's how we can keep the peace. You want to believe Rashad? More power to you. And Navid will tell you 100 times, so many times, I came to their platform, we had amazing conversations about Sunnism, about the Quran, difference of interpretation, and I always told them, I don't want to debate Rashad. I don't want to talk about Rashad with you guys so that nobody gets angry. And we didn't do that. And we were good friends until he wanted to come attack me. And now we see how clear and an authoritative power Rashad was.
I just want to address this by saying I do believe many of the submitters that we have, you saw one today, they see Mr. Muhammad's platform here as a stepping stone to get to submission. And in the fact that he can help people leave the hadith and get a closer step towards submission, I'm happy with that. But beyond that, the deviance, the fake Quranism, level 3.5 Quranism, this incoherence, this doctrine of confusion, this ego worship, this fabricate your own interpretations of the Quran. We condemn it outright as submitters. Any rational person would condemn the ideology that is being espoused here by this gentleman. There's no basis for here. Messengers of the Covenant cleaned up the religion, and it's fantastic. Praise be to God. Everyone looking, go on YouTube, type Code 19, the First Look documentary. Go on YouTube, type Code 19, the Ultimate Miracle. That's all you need to see. Code 19 is established as a legitimate miracle. Rashad Khalifa was God's messenger of the covenant. And it doesn't matter if he brings 200 items that he rejects from Rashad. That does not discount the fact that the man was God's messenger of the covenant. We have to just hear and obey once verifying that. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Code 19 is irrefutable. Finished.
Cool. Thank you very much for your question.
Yeah. Again, thanks a lot for this debate.
Thanks for coming.
All right. So next person, we have this individual, Shaqiq. Hello, Shaqiq.
Mr. Shaqiq, please and welcome. My understanding is you've closed off the request to get backstage, so we're going through the.
Yes, there's no more.
How many more?
Is
this? Yeah, go ahead.
There's one more, and then there's two people repeating. Well, I have Bessie again, and yeah, so I'll have. Well, Shaqiq is not here. We have just Carlos, and we also have Bessie, whose mic wasn't working. I have Ali also in the background, but Ali, you already asked your question, so I'm just gonna go with Carlos.
Hello.
Hello.
Peace and blessings upon you both.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Muhammad. I watched a video on how to pray without using hadiths, and I just want to tell you how I was praying so you could let me know if I was doing it wrong. So
Carlos,
yeah.
The questions are about debate. If you have a personal question to me or a personal question to Navid, you can contact Navid on his Discord, and you can contact me on my Telegram.
Oh, I don't have Telegram.
You can. There's my email as well on my YouTube channel. I'll put it in the chat for you. But this is about the debate.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the question. Sorry, that's my email in the chat for whoever wants to discuss other things in regards to theology. Okay, Carlos?
Okay.
Just a question, as God is your witness. Are you a submitter who follows Rashad?
No, I like your channel and Draven's channel and correctional officer.
God bless you. Okay. Thank you, man. Yeah, so bro, as long as what you're doing is what you believe is from God and what you're substantiated by the Quran, keep doing you, because you only improve yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings be upon you both.
Peace and blessings upon you. Okay. Bessie.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you can hear me now better.
Yes, much better.
Yeah, better audio quality now. Go ahead. I'm happy you're able to come back.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. I hope you're all well. I wanted to ask a question to Navid and about the topic of temporarily God. I mean, let's now take aside if it means temporarily God, what Rashad literally says, or like you said, that it is a fake God. If you want to defend now Rashad, then
what's
how
your
do
question?
you want to yeah, no, I'm coming. Wait. Now, how do you want to explain Surah 8:48? And when the Satan made fair their deeds to them and said, none among men can defeat you this day, where I'm at your side. Then when the two companies came within sight of one another, he turned on his heels and said, quote, I am quit of you. I see what you see not. I fear God, and God is severe in retribution.
So your question is, why was Satan scared of the thousands of angels that showed up?
No, it's just about the topic that Satan himself feared God, and he would never come and say that I'm
God. So if you're a king, if you're a king of a land, and then suddenly 50,000 soldiers from a foreign country show up at your border, you're gonna get scared. So what's your point?
Well, no, he saw.
I think Bessie is talking about the temporary God status. So what was his power?
Yeah, the fake God status is for Earth. But if angels show up from outside of Earth, he's going to get scared. So there's no issue here.
I mean, Satan himself doesn't accept this title of being a god because he fears God, but
right.
I mean, maybe
yeah, but he's a fake god of earth. He's not god of the angels, so that's irrelevant.
I mean, he's
But
God
you know,
of
when you're
earth,
saying
he
fake
says
God
all
of
the
earth,
God.
even God denounces that. Like God says that they
You
call them
can claim
gods.
that. You can claim that. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you
God
get
knows that
to
they're
be
okay.
Yeah, so
to be
so
honest,
so
I mean, you
so the
get to
angels
believe
are not
getting
wait,
around.
so do you understand that the angels are not Satan's constituents? Do you understand that?
I mean, you want now to say that there are gods of angels, God of earth, God of something.
What do you mean?
I mean,
No.
So,
Satan-
well,
It's
one
always
second.
been the same. It's always been
Does a
the same.
temporary does a temporary
Temporary-
God have more power than an angel?
Thank you.
No. His dominion is limited to earth. And it's not
What's that
one,
mean?
right? It's not one. Maybe he could actually take on one angel. But here's thousands of angels showed up,
So
highly trained, well
one
armed.
angel versus Iblis. Maybe Iblis can stand his ground with his godly power.
The powers that he had prior to be appointed on this planet, yeah, maybe he was a high-ranking angel. Maybe he can take on the weaker angels. But the fact of the matter is, when 3,000 or whatever the number is in this verse, 5,000 trained angels show up, it has nothing to do with him being a representative on earth. These people are coming from outside. These angels are coming from outside of earth. So
But
this
he
is a
had
moot
godly
point.
power.
It's irrelevant.
So what's godly power? What's godly power? Be and become. So get out. Get out of my dominion. It has to become.
They're not his. They're not. The angels are not his constituents, so it's
They're
irrelevant.
in his dominion as a temporary God.
Yeah, they're not. They're not in his. They're not subject to his dominion. Angels are not subject.
Can I defeat this temporary God? Me as a human being by myself, believing in God.
What you can do is turn to God and enter God's protection.
Can I defeat him?
Like one-on-one,
defeat this
hand-to-hand
temporary
combat?
God?
No, you can't engage in hand-to-hand combat with Satan. What you can is you could
Why?
seek
There's
refuge in
God.
God.
God says
tells you-
shayateen al-ins. God talks about the
says-
devils of the
yeah.
humans.
And
Yeah, I
God
can go
tells us
hand
in the
in hand
Quran,
combat with them.
no, God
I could
says
say
to
something
seek
that-
refuge in God
that
from saying
Satan
the rejected.
says-
That's how you get protection. You seek refuge in God from saying the rejected. That's what we're supposed to do.
Okay, so why is Satan, who's a temporary God who owns this world, who has dominion in this world,
He's a
and
fake
I am
God of
within
this
this world?
He's a fake God of this world.
He has the godly power of this dominion, which I am part of, right? Where he has to call me and I have to respond to him for him to get authority. Yet God has authority over me without calling me.
Yeah, because Satan's a
As
fake
God
God.
has authority over Satan without
Just
calling him.
proving the whole point that Satan's a fake God.
No,
The
it's
thing
proving
is
he's not even a God.
God,
That's not
godly
how God
power
is.
of Satan, godly power of Satan is that he can follow his own opinion, just like you worship and follow your own opinion.
I don't follow my own opinion. And you're just following some
Fabricated
other
opinion.
man's opinion.
Every single Quranist that came up today had a different version of
Mhm.
Quranism than you, and somehow you believe your
And that
version
happened
of
before
Quranism
Rashad too.
superior.
And bro, perfect. And you were a Quranist that came to my platform with a different opinion. Thank you for showing how diverse and amazing this book can be.
You don't have.
But you're trying to say to me that my opinion is going to land me to hell. But me saying that Satan is a temporary God, that's going to get me to heaven. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah, and I witness that Satan's a temporary God.
19 times in the Quran we have the command to hear and obey God and the messenger.
Yeah.
You refuse that
You
command.
know what's interesting? So Prophet Muhammad was mentioned 4 times in the Quran. What's his geometric value? It can be divisible by 4. If you go take the counts of Hamim and add the Ayn, Sin, Qaf, it's also divisible by 4. If you change the count from Taha and you change the ta to an actual ta marputa, it's divisible by 4. And then you could go to Isa, who they say he's a part of 3. His geometrical value is divisible by 3 as well. And you know what? The times that he was listed in the Quran by name is divisible by 3. We can sit here and find a lot of mathematical formulas in the Quran because it's godly
25% of all
divine.
numbers are divisible by 4. This is just getting silly. Is Bessie the
Yeah,
last
okay,
person
but
who
19 is a plus or minus. Do you understand? Do you understand it's a plus or minus of 6? Plus or minus of 6, you can find yourself on 19 again?
No,
depending
it's
on what you're doing. It's not plus
5%.
because
about 5% of all numbers are multiples of 19.
How much?
5% of all numbers are multiples of 19.
But I can fudge the numbers and I get into that range. That's my point. Because between me and 4 is only 2 numbers. To get divisible by 4, I only need to get 2 or 3.
Let me ask you this. Why do you believe the root of Rashad is in the Quran 19 times?
However you want to count it, but it doesn't mean that it's the actual name of him counted 19 times.
What do you mean? The root of his name is in the Quran 19 times. That's it.
I love that you keep mentioning that, brother. When is the last time? When's the last time? When's the last time that God is referring to a messenger with two names? You say Rashad Khalifa, which Khalifa is his surname, but God never talks about the family name or the father name of messengers in the Quran. Sometimes he counts Rashad, sometimes he counts Khalifa, sometimes he adds them together, sometimes he adds together -1, sometimes he puts it all together and then he adds it, and then he'll multiply the surah number, sometimes he'll multiply the verse number.
You're going, listen, the root of Rashad is in the Quran 19 times. There's nothing added, nothing subtracted, just accept the simple fact.
So there's no other name in the world that can apply to.
Oh, so it just happens the person that found the ultimate miracle, their name is in the Quran 19 times. Just concede this.
Perfect. Then that's proving that he was supposed to be the one discovering it, not performing a miracle. Perfect. Perfect. He's being like the guy in chapter 18 who walked with Moses. Perfect. That was his role in the world. Why did he go above and beyond?
5679 says only the sincere have access to the Quran. Only the sincere can.
Where does that say that? What verse is that?
5679. Yeah, go with the Sunni understanding. Go ahead.
No. What is that? What's the verse?
5679. I seek refuge God from saying the rejected. I'm starting from 75. I swear by the positions of the stars, this is an oath. If you only knew, that is awesome. This is an honorable Quran in a protected book. None can grasp it except the sincere. A revelation from the Lord of the universe.
Okay, so the word that he said is sincere, yet the Arabic is saying al-mutahharun. Al-mutahhar is someone who's purified, not sincere. Because you are not sincere by the word mutahhar. Mutahharun are the people who are purified.
Even better. So then Rashad is already pure when he grasped the Quran.
No. I'm talking about the translation you just gave me. It's not in Arabic.
So
You said only the sincere can grasp it. But do you know what's funny?
Who accesses the meaning of the Quran? Who accesses the meaning of the Quran? Tell me.
God teaches the Quran.
Who accesses the meaning of the Quran?
God teaches the Quran, so everyone has access to who God allows.
So then Rashad was sincere. Would he be an enemy of God?
No, he wasn't sincere. He was not sincere. He was sincere to himself. The whole message became about him. The translation started to get skewed to talk about Rashad. Every time God is talking about messenger, he makes about code 19. He made it about himself.
3 salat at
night. Who has an ego?
The one that fabricated 3 salat at night only, ladies and gentlemen. That's Mr. Muhammad right here. He fabricated.
It's not 3. Where did I say at night? Tarafay an-nahar. When the night and the day is merging, day is not present. Your own messenger said the exact same thing I said, which you rejected, and you said that he clarified it later. He said the exact same thing that I said.
You believe there's only
before he got deluded.
You believe there's only 3 salat at night. And that's it. There's no. And
actually,
let's end on this note. What is Salat al-Jum'ah?
Fajr is at night. You're lying, and you know you're lying. I said that there's Salat Fajr. Is that nighttime?
Is there any salat between sunrise and sunset? Yes or no?
Between sunrise and sunset? No, there's only commemoration where you're silent.
When is Salat al-Jum'ah? When is Salat al-Jum'ah?
Salat al-Jum'ah is on the day of congregation.
So it's during the day.
So when you well, no, but you're saying about the daily, or you want to talk about the weekly? Because you're trying to get me into a catch. It still stands. You don't have a daily.
We established you don't believe in any prayers during the day, and now you're saying Salat al-Jum'ah is a weekly.
We were talking about the daily prayers. You want to talk about the weekly prayers? There's one that happens when people congregate. It does not necessitate that it has to be in the morning.
This is why we need submission, ladies and gentlemen. This is why.
Yeah, that's why we need to accept that jinn now. We just you're born with a jinn, bro.
Who takes the believers
ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. That's it.
Right. So this is darkness, ladies and gentlemen. When the word here is mutahharun, which is purified, Rashad wants to say that it's sincere, but that's not what God said. That's what Rashad said.
Purified is sincere. That's why you don't have access to the Quran.
Oh, thanks.
We're done here.
I don't need that access because I read it in Arabic. I don't need that stuff.
And you know Qurayshi Arabic.
As if Rashad did. Rashad didn't even know what salah means. Salah
before we leave, translate this verse for us. 38.
No. I'm not playing this game with you. I'm not playing this game with you. You said here and you
proved it. Ladies and gentlemen, 3844. The common translations, including Mr. Muhammad, is that you grab a bundle of sticks and beat your wife with it. Only Rashad Khalifa.
I didn't say beat your wife. You're a liar. You're a liar. When did I ever say that you beat your wife? You keep
All right,
talking
who
to
are
me
you
like a
beating? Who are
Sunni
you
when you
beating?
pray like a Sunni.
Okay, who are you beating in that verse?
Where does it say beat? No, sorry, what was the verse? That's not the verse. 33 what?
38:44. 38:44.
38:44. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Where does it say beat? Beat your wife people.
That's common trans. You want me to read it? Mustafa Khattab, take in your hand.
It's not common translation. I'm not a Sunni. Stop talking to me like a Sunni.
So give me your translation. Where is a random person
It's
supposed to
saying
read
right
the Quran?
here, and take a bunch in your hand, a bunch of sticks, and rub with it.
What does that mean? What does it mean, rubbing sticks?
And do not perjure. If you want the actual explanation, God says in the Quran, listen to me, listen to me. God in the Quran clearly states that this Quran tells the children of Israel much of what they differed in. So they had a differentiation of what Job was doing, and Job had the problem. And the Quran is clarifying to you. He's not hitting anyone with it. And
what is being rubbed here?
With the sticks on yourself
What are
and the people around you.
You're rubbing yourself with sticks?
Okay, let's put what Rashad said. Let's put what Rashad said. I love this. What is it?
He
Rashad,
actually has
let's.
coherent translation. That's the whole point.
Oh no,
He's
bro.
the
Let's see
only
if it
one that
attaches
has
to the
coherent
Arabic.
translation. He understands an
So it
expression
doesn't
that you
matter.
don't
That's not what the
understand.
Arabic said. It's just what
It is
Rashad
what the
thought.
Arabic says. You just don't understand the Quranic Arabic. You don't understand the expression.
Oh, okay.
Like saying
Okay,
beat a
okay.
dead
So let's see.
horse.
What was the verse number? 38. What?
38:44. Yeah, 38:44.
44,
You
ladies
don't
and gentlemen.
understand
When
expressions
God
in Arabic.
uses the word "fadru
You're
biha,"
saying we
right?
need to
"Fadru
rub
biha,"
people with sticks. Saying we need to rub
with
people with sticks. This is Quranism, ladies and gentlemen. You end up rubbing people with
one
sticks.
second. What's the verse? What's with the verse?
Can I say
There's a
something?
more explanation to it.
I
What?
mean, you yourself said that Rashad Khalifa was the first Quranist. Then you are now shouting against Quranism. Just want to say.
Kind of.
38:44. 38:44.
38:44. But
Yeah.
here we go. Share this tab and watch this, guys. So the Arabic was talking about take a bunch, which is stick, ضعفا, فاضرب بها. فاضرب بها can allude to hitting, right? And it can allude to other things as well. But let's just go and see what Rashad said. Okay? And then he has to tell me how the Arabic is saying. Now you shall travel the land and preach the message of God. خذ ضغطا فاضرب بها. Where does it say and preach the message of God in the Arabic? Can someone who needs
you don't understand? You don't understand idioms and.
Oh, okay. Now we don't understand. Now we don't understand.
You never did. It's not now. It's never. You never understood.
Oh, I never did. So when God is saying "Fadrub fil ard," it means preach the message, right? To fulfill your pledge.
It's an expression. Yes, it's an expression.
Oh, it's an expression. Where's the expression here?
The expression.
Can you show me? Can you show me anywhere else where someone said "wala tahnaf" is an expression, which is do not be lazy?
We have an article. I'm not going to get into it now. We have an article on QuranTalkBlog.com. You can look it up. Or
which he proves absolutely nothing. He's saying that it's an idiom when it wasn't.
I think we're done here. I think we're done.
we are exactly. So,
all right,
ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bessie.
I wanted to say not that I hold some other people up.
No, we're good.
Anyone wants to come talk to me, you can come talk to me in VC1-chat. I'm available always. We have plenty of blood brothers and sisters. I'm more than happy to talk to all of you. That's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate it. You can put as many plugs as you want. I'm not going to stop that. And yeah, so as we've seen, this was a decent debate. I'm not talking about the debate anymore. I appreciate you, Navid, coming by. This was some excellent material. It shows exactly what people need to know about Rashad before they understand what you guys want to show. You're more than welcome to see his submission server. Rashad in his Navid in his closing statement said something that's very important. Go verify yourself. Verify what's being said to you.
I'm gonna be available in the VC1 for a post-debate analysis. You're welcome to come talk with me. All right. God bless you all.
Yes.
Thank you for this program.
Take care. Appreciate it, Navid.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the end of it for this. Thank you for sticking by. I might have. Should we do a post date right away? Yeah, I think we'll do a post chat. We'll do a post chat. But to be fair for Navid and for the submitters, I'm going to end the stream and start a new stream. Ooh, that was exactly how I thought it would go. It was awesome. Oh man.